Yeah, this weekend you'll get ready for it.
Hasn't
For
it?
hosting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
While we're waiting to get started, is anybody having any trouble or anything getting connected to the network? I know over here y'all aren't connected, you don't have the devices yet, but over here y'all connected with your laptop to the Wi-Fi, okay?
To the Wi-Fi, yes.
Okay, very good. Did y'all know that we stream a lot of the classes and meetings to YouTube here?
Okay.
Like sales meeting gets streamed pretty
Yeah.
frequently, a lot of classes. You can
That
actually
is
go
nice.
to YouTube. I don't know if you know this or not, but I love this fact. You can go to YouTube and do a search at YouTube for KW Peachtree Road. RD. Should get it. You see the logo with the circle up there? If you click on that,
KW Peachtree Road.
and if you click on that, it'll take you to the Peachtree Road YouTube page where you can catch all the video feeds and stuff. So you can see the previous team meetings and different presentations. But here's what I love, is you can go to the subscribe button right here, and if you subscribe, then you can turn notifications on and get notified anytime the cameras are rolling. So like a lot of times I'm driving down the road and my phone will chirp up and say, you know, Peachtree Road is live right now. And I'm like, okay, and I'll just listen to it in my truck while I'm in traffic. You can listen to team meetings sometimes or whatever's going on in here. So for today, I am rolling the cameras, but I'm not rolling the cameras on the room. I've got a virtual camera that's just watching just the desktop. So, and what'll happen as we get done today, it'll actually go to YouTube. It'll archive up here in one of the previous meetings. Here we are live right now, as a matter of fact. Phone will chirp up and say, 5-second delay. Isn't that something? So I love showing that. I think that is so cool to be able to catch that on YouTube. Come back and watch it
we'll
again.
catch you, and then we'll be at home with our computers.
Then you'll be at home with the computer. Exactly. So,
I've learned
right?
that.
Pretty cool, huh? But not just my class. Anything going on in here. So,
Right.
you know, if you miss something in team meeting and want to hear it again, you go to YouTube and go see what they said. What was it that was so important that you forgot? You know, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely. For those of you that don't know me, by the way, my name is Scott Hardy, and I'm the Director of Technology for the Rawls Group. The way I fit into the organization on a daily basis, I focus my attention primarily on the dirty laundry of technology with computers and servers and networks and buying software and security and answering help desk tickets and questions and things like that. You can imagine it's pretty busy. I do it for all 6 of the Rawls Group offices.
Yeah, you're busy, all right.
I'm exclusive to those locations. And I have a team of folks that work with me. Most of my technicians are all virtual in the cloud, and they do a lot of remote tech support. We have a dispatcher, all kinds of stuff going on for us. But I also spend my time working with agent services, trying to educate new agents and seasoned agents on the KW products. Sometimes I'll do that through a consultation. Sometimes I'll do that through a help desk ticket. Other times I'll do it like I'm doing it right now, which is come into the market center and do a class, right? And we'll talk about a certain topic. And that's what's brought me here today, is to talk about the Placester website. Anybody already on the Placester website, already using it, so you're somewhat familiar? Today's class is really about launching the site. It's about getting it from zero to set up so that you have worthwhile content, so that you have your digital storefront set up, and you have an idea and understanding of how the system works. It takes me about 3 hours to get through the content. And then usually what I do is I don't bolt out of here right at the end. I'll just keep the training room open. We'll just go into kind of workshop mode. If you're working on your website, I'll hang out, go desk side, answer questions. Even if you maybe don't have a website question, I'll try to answer it. So whatever the case may be. Does that sound good? Yes, sir.
At the top of it, it says email me, doesn't it? I mean, it's sort of fuzzy. Email me with the phone number to your right?
Yeah, it does, matter of fact. Yep, that's what it says. Let me kill these lights and see that help a little bit, see things better. That is my Placester site. Before we get into my Placester site, though, there's one other website I want to show you, and we'll come back to this one. And that is this page here, rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. Anybody seeing this page for the very first time? A couple people. This is my department website right here, rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. I'll tell you, I have a bit of a reputation to be difficult to catch by phone, by email. Everybody says, man, you're so busy. I learned a script for that, though. This applies so much. People say, man, you're busy. And I say, actually, I'm just scheduled.
Oh,
you know?
I like that.
And you can get on my schedule. And I've got tools to help you get on my schedule. And that's why I like to show Rawls Group Help Desk at first, because this is the best way to get my attention. Like I said, I've got a crew of people, a group, a team behind me working in the cloud that monitor help desk tickets and correspondence and stuff, and it's very helpful to know about Rawls Group helpdesk.com. You see these there's two. You see these two big red buttons right here? The first one is creating a help desk ticket. If you click through that, it's a real simple process. You've probably created a help desk ticket in your life at some point or another. It's a simple form you fill out, basically asking contact information and trying to get some description of what kind of problem it is you may have. Usually help desk tickets are really good for what I consider infrastructure problems. The network's slow, my phone's not working in my office, my printer is not working on the network, none of the workstations will turn on today, something like that. That's good for help desk content. But if you fill out a help desk ticket, don't worry about some of these questions that ask you for category and priority. If you get those wrong, we always will correct those and get them right, but we just want to get your best guess on that. If you submit that ticket, what happens is the ticket goes into a queue, and we answer tickets not in the order we get them. We rank every ticket based on severity, and we deal with the bigger problems first. So if you open a ticket saying, hey, I can't print to my favorite one printer right outside my office, but I can print everywhere else, we'll take that as a help desk ticket. But then when somebody else comes along and says, nobody in the new building can print across the network over to any of these printers, well, that's a higher priority, right? We got to deal with the masses first. And most people get that. That's basic, help desk logic. But the question remains, when am I going to get to that one little ticket that involves you? That's a fair question. And we began thinking that through, and we said, what would be helpful? If in addition to doing help desk tickets, what if we also offered remote tech sessions? And that's the second big red button's all about. If you click on that, it'll take you to a page where you can pick between myself or Chris. Chris is my associate tech here, sort of my right-hand man in the cloud. If you book on his name or my name, you'll get to our schedules. Now, I'm about to be on vacation, and I got several projects that I had to time block, so this calendar is not going to look awesome. Look at that, I'm all filled up. But I promise you, as you dig into this, you'll start getting in, you'll start seeing some more days. Well, I got about 2 weeks of appointments filled up, but the green slots are what I have available. I think we're out of town there too. There's a good full week, right? You can click on any one of these squares that are green, you get another little form to fill out, and now if you fill this form out and submit it, you're going to know exactly when I'm going to give you a call, what time and what date I'm going to give you a call. So you can fill this form out, I'll call you at that designated time, and during that appointment, you just need to be connected to the internet, generally. If the nature of your problem is you can't get connected to the internet, well then we'll tackle that. But for most problems, you just need to be on the internet somehow. It could be here at the office, it could be at home, it could be at Starbucks. You could be on the side of the road with a hotspot, and it's going to work. Well, what we'll do is we'll take remote control of your computer and speak to you on the phone while we share the screen, and we'll just tackle the content, tackle the topic of that day. Now, a lot of times I'm in a hotspot in my truck, and people don't even know the difference. It's wonderful. Y'all work in your cars a lot? Y'all know what a steering wheel desk is? You ever used a steering wheel desk? Let me tell you, this is a game changer. Most of these calls, I'm in between one market center and the next, stuck on the side of the road trying to get to where I'm going, but it's time to make a call for my appointment, and I'm in my truck on the side of the road. So I finally, after a couple of years of that, I like to show this is fun. I finally bought one of these things.
Whoa.
I got it at Amazon for about 35 bucks. The model that I use, I think, is this one. It's like this. And it just produces that little platform that you can put your laptop on. And it's awesome because it keeps you straight onto the steering wheel. I used to turn to the side on my console, and at the end of the day, I'd have a headache like you wouldn't believe, But it's thin enough you can put it in the mat pocket behind your passenger seat, and you're driving, pull over on the side of the road, reach out, get your steering wheel desk. It's really difficult to steer with it, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of practice.
Are you
I recommend
start
starting a parking lot or something maybe, and then you get the hang of it. No, but anyway, that's a free tip right there. Steering wheel desk. I figure, you know what, you're in my situation too. You're probably in your car a lot, doing a lot of work. And you can even stop and you put your lunch on it if you want to.
Will you click on that there's like two strings there in the ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know what that is about. He did a do-it-yourself. Don't look at that. This guy, he had to be different. Go get something like this.
Do you think if the police stops
You think you're gonna get a ticket? You can definitely go get a ticket.
Not
If you're
pull
driving
over.
with that, you've got bigger problems than a ticket.
Yeah.
I think you need to be pulled over on the side of the road. You know, I go find me a nice shady spot behind a,
Oh,
you know.
okay, you don't drive.
No, I was just kidding. But I'll go get me a shady spot. Sometimes I'll roll my windows down, and if the weather's nice, you know, it's pretty cool. The biggest challenge is if it starts raining. That's the hardest thing. If it starts raining hard on your roof of your vehicle, it's hard to make calls. So, but I figured that out too. You'll find yourself a bank,
Okay.
pull underneath their overhead or something. You know, go find an abandoned drive-through. It works great. So anyway, all right. Enough about that. Steering wheel desk. I recommend them. These appointments here, they don't cost you anything. They're free. There's no limit to the number of appointments that you can set up. And there's a couple reasons why I wanted to share and make sure you know how to book a tech session with me. The first reason is I think the face value of my accessibility. Now you know how to get a hold of me. You know your schedule. Now you know mine, right? But the other thing is as we get into the topics today, we're going to run out of time. I mean, the website question itself is a really big topic, and it's more than 3 hours worth of a conversation. So we will reach points where I'll say, okay, that's as far as we're going to go on this. If that went over your head, or if you want more attention on this, I'm going to recommend you make an appointment with me, and this is what I'm talking about. So now you know, right? So you say, oh. And I you know, usually by the end of most classes, I have 3 or 4 appointments that have showed up in my calendar. So I think people appreciate having that access. A couple more things on my website, and we'll dig in. So I've showed you how to do a help desk ticket, how to book a remote tech session directly with me. In addition to that, I also have a training calendar up here at the very top. If you click on that, you can see where and when I'm teaching at the Rawls Group Market Centers. Again, I am exclusive to the Rawls, so all these locations are going to be a Rawls Group location. Here we are today. And then the next time I'm teaching this class will be at Sandy Springs on May 22nd. That's just right around the corner from here. So somebody told me earlier, hey, I'm going to be here in about, an hour, I think is what you told me, and then I got to leave. Well, here's the thing. If you left here today, if you spent till like 2 o'clock with me today and left, and then showed up at 2 o'clock at one of these other locations, you're pretty much going to start up right where you left off. I keep things pretty consistent if things go my way anyway. So that's one option. You can visit around, or you can actually wait until you see me back at this market center, which looks like they've got me June 21st. So you can always tap on that and figure out where I am and what I'm doing. If you can't make another class, the last resource I'll show you is on my main page. This is my landing page, rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. I've got this little advertisement here. There's 3 things that slide. The first slide, which is already transitioned, let me go back to it. Here it is Placester Website Setup 101. This is a video that covers everything and more of what we're covering today. And if you click through this, it takes you to a page. And I'm really happy about this. It's a video that you can watch, and if you click play, you can watch the whole entire presentation. Or, here's what I'm happy about, is I figured out how to do a table of contents and break it up by topic.
That's awesome.
So if you need the whole thing, again, you can watch the video anytime you want. If you spend your time with me today and think, you know, that was a really interesting class, but I kind of lost track of how to do maybe, I don't know, how about slideshow? Maybe I want to revisit the slideshow. Well, you can come back on your own time and click on that, and it'll cue the video right at that topic, and you can watch and pick up again. So it gives you some reinforcement. So there's several resources on my website that I definitely want to make sure you're aware of to help you, because it's a lot of content, and sometimes repetition is good, right?
Right.
So, enough about my website. We'll be back on my website later today to get some resources as we dig in. Let's talk about Placester website for a minute. And here's mine. So what you're looking at right now is, this is my Placester website. It's one of 8 basic templates that you can choose from. This is called the Madison template. And what I want to do for a minute is just kind of give you a 10,000 foot view of the website, a tour of it real quick, and then we'll start getting into the construction and the nuts and bolts of it. I don't know if you're like me, but the slightest noise outside is just drawing my attention. I'm more interested in what's going on out there right now. That's just the way my brain works. Let me fix that. Okay. So this is one of 8 different templates. It's called the Madison template. We'll learn today how to control different templates. You might have noticed already up here in the banner, you've got quite a bit of information. We'll get control over this banner at the top, including some social media badges, Market Center logos. You'll learn today how to control that. I'll give you one guess where I taught this class last, right? Atlanta Perimeter. If you brought your headshot, we'll show you today how to get your headshot into your website and how to get all your contact information in,
Oh, good.
right? Your branding and tagline here, we'll learn how to get control over that. You notice that my website says welcome to treehousefinder.com. I'm not a salesperson. I've never been a salesperson. I'm 100% technical, and that gives me the luxury of embracing a fictitious business of selling tree houses, you know, because I love tree houses in real life. So I thought, okay, I'll be the treehouse realtor. Treehousefinder.com will be me. And I've had treehousefinder.com as my web address for the last, 8 years or so. I've used it for all the different KW systems. I taught e-agency websites, I taught market leader websites, and now teaching the Placester sites using treehousefinder.com. Here's something that's kind of interesting. Notice my web address at the very top. Now I know this is kind of hard to read. There's nothing I can do to make that bigger. But at the very, very top, where I've highlighted that in blue, my web address is www.treehousefinder.com. That's not the address KW gave me though, right? When you start out your website, you'll start out with something a little ugly. It's going to be something like maybe your first initial last name .kw.com, or maybe in some cases just a hashed out number. I've got one of these Placester sites, it's like x839574.kw.com, and that's not it. I can't even remember it. I will try to get into some conversations about domain names and how I got my treehousefinder.com, but that is a separate class that is available, and I just talked to Dory a while ago, and they're going to book that here soon. It's such a big topic about domain names. How did I change my ugly domain name to the branded domain name? That I tried to teach it in the website class in the past, and it was just a train wreck. By the time I got through the topic, everybody's hands up going, my website's not working now, you know? And I used to say that could be a class all of its own. And somebody finally said, well, why don't you make it a class all of its own, which I did. So I talked to Dory today, and she's going to get that on the calendar. If you're here today with specific questions about domains, we're not going to get deep into that today at all, really. But if that's something that's important to you, get with me after class, and I'll be happy to configure a domain. If you bought one, you need to connect it to your Placester site. So we'll, like I said, briefly look at domains today if we have time. But things that we will control moving down the website are things like this menu here, where you see home, listing, search, about me. These buttons here, these menu buttons, today you're going to learn how to get control over that area. If you're looking at yours right now, you would see that you've got some of the same buttons I've got, and I've even added a couple extra buttons. The default buttons here are home, listing, search, about me, and contact me. Those are built in. I added a mobile search for the mobile property search. Anybody got the mobile app on your phone, mobile search app? That's a great piece of technology. I love that. We'll spend some time today talking about that and how to get a link on your website so people can download your mobile app. And I've got a video update here. If you click on that, it goes to this month in real estate, the monthly update. And this updates every month, by the way. I don't have to do anything to it. So I'll show you today how to get that.
Welcome to This Month in Real Estate for April 2018.
Very good. I've heard that enough. But today I'll show you that so you get an idea how to add some content to your menu up here at the top. We'll also get control over this big image. Now this is a custom image that I've selected and this is my imaginary treehouse. That would be my living room in my treehouse. I got a hammock looking out the trees, you know. That is not an image that's provided by Placester. When you launch your website, you get some images that are in a slideshow format. Actually, if you've seen anybody else's Placester, or maybe even looking at your own, you'll notice one of the characteristics is there's a series of slides that slide across, and we'll talk about that today. You get control today over that slideshow. I'll teach you how to get the images in there and how to control them, and show you how to do some custom work like I've done here, where I created something that represented and reinforced my brand, right? And I'll give some ideas on what we can do. Here's another good topic. You'll notice floating there in front of my banner, in front of my slideshow, my slide list slideshow, one single image, is a property search, right? You recognize that, and I'm sure you've seen that a million times in your line of work. What happens when you do a property search here on my website? It's hard to see, it's washed out in the blank, but if you're looking out on your screen, it says enter your city, zip, neighborhood, address, says that right here. If I enter that information in and put in something like Brookhaven, you notice it even filled it out, Brookhaven, Georgia, and then hit search, what's happening? It's talking to an MLS database, right? But you knew that. Here's the thing I want to make sure that everybody knows, because not everybody knows this next piece though. What you just saw was an IDX property search. Have you heard of that term before, IDX? IDX is a very important tool for real estate agents. And just to make sure we're on the same page, I want to give you a quick definition of IDX and what it is. So for an agent, IDX is a technology that allows you to put a property search on your, we'll call it your marketing collateral, your web collateral, or your websites. It works on your mobile search app, works on your website. So it's a technology that allows you to get a property search on your website that connects to your local MLS, presenting all the details to your consumer. Public comments, description, price, everything. One piece of information is missing. Anybody have an idea what one piece of information is missing from an IDX search? The answer is, did you have it?
The listing agent.
The listing agent, exactly. I thought that's where you went. Exactly. That's the characteristic signature of an IDX search. It shows everything in the MLS database is public, but the listing agent. And in its place puts your contact information. This positions you to be a buyer's agent, right? And so an IDX property search on your website is extremely valuable, because if somebody is driving down the road and they go to treehousefinder.com and they're looking at this house here at Mabry Road and they click on it and they're interested in it, I could be driving down the road myself and somebody give me a call, my phone rings, and somebody could say, well, I'm on treehousefinder.com looking at this Mabry Road house, what can you tell me about it? Notice all the public information's there, the photos are there, the details, but there's no contact information. You can just take my word for it, it's not there. There is a contact form, get in touch right there, and if they fill that out and hit submit, guess who it goes to? Me, right? And the only phone number that they can see, this one up here.
Why do you still have email me up there though, next to your phone number? That's
Email me?
Yeah.
Just in case somebody wants to
Oh,
send
so
me an
it's
email.
two separate things.
Yep, it's two
Oh, I
separate
see,
things. That's
'cause I
clickable.
was expecting to say cell or contact or mobile or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I was. all right.
So yeah, what they do, just so you know, for your security, they don't actually reveal the email address. They just say email me, because spammers will crawl websites looking for email addresses that are written out in the open.
I see, okay.
And so they just say email me. You have to click through it to work with that. But back on the IDX search here, the contact information is my contact information. So a consumer may call me, dial my number, and I'm just driving down the road and I get a call and they say, yeah, I'm looking at this Mabry Lane. What can you tell me about it? And I'm thinking, that's not my listing. You train your brain to go into a buyer's agent script at that point. You talk to them as a buyer's agent. And what's happened is your IDX has gone to work for you right there, right? And that's awesome. I've actually had somebody before call me and tell me something is wrong with my website. I'm getting phone calls about listings that aren't even mine. And I'm thinking, oh my word, what did you do with that call? I hope you handled it appropriately. You know, they just didn't understand IDX and how it works, right? Occasionally somebody will tell me, well, that was great. I didn't really quite understand everything you said, but I really don't like the way that looks. Some people will tell me, I like the way Realtor.com property search looks, or I like the way Trulia property search looks. And what they'll do is they'll add a link up here in this area, up in this region, property search, and they'll link it to Realtor.com. That's not an IDX search. So imagine if you were to get traffic to your website, somebody hits your website, that's a miracle in itself. Think of how many real estate websites are out there. They land on your site, but then you put a link to Realtor.com and they click on it, you're sending that business on down the road, because when they go to Realtor.com and do the search, it's not IDX. The listing agent's contact information pops up, competitive agents pop up in the margin, you're not even in there. And of course they end up calling that listing agent. So make sure you understand the difference between IDX and a non-IDX property search. Today, we're going to connect your Placester site, the property search, the IDX search, is going to connect it to FMLS, and we're going to get some control over it. Speaking of IDX, this section down here, featured properties, we'll get control over this. You can think of this as like your showcase. And in this particular template, the Madison template, there's room for 4 showcase properties, what they call featured properties. And we will discuss today, you'll learn how to get control over this area and what is showing up.
Even if they're not your listings per se?
Even if they're not your listings. There's 2 scenarios we're going to go through. One scenario would be, even if they're not your listings. If they're not your listings, you're an agent, you've got no inventory, but you need to get something on your website, well, you want to put something that's relative to your market, right? I mean, look at these. This is a $6.5 million, $8 million, $11 million listing all over Atlanta. I would love to sell one, but it doesn't really represent my business, right? So scenario one that we'll go through is reeling these listings in so they make sense in terms of price and geography for your business, so they fit. And then scenario number two, I'll show you what to do in a scenario where you're an agent that actually has inventory and you want to get your specific inventory pinned up there because you want to showcase your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go through that.
What format do the images have to be in? Can you use images from your phone, or would it be better to use it?
We're not even going to use images, our own images. We're going to pull it from IDX. We're going to pull it from SMLS. Yep, they'll come in through the database. We will talk about image formats later for slides, though.
Okay.
Testimonial section, you can see there is a testimonial section. A lot of times I've run out of time before we can get to that. It's a simple process. You can see I work with a very high-end client base. I'm glad y'all get the humor. Sometimes people are just like, it's like crickets. People are looking at that going, what? Now, I used to have photos for everybody until before I had Donald Trump up here, I had Barack Obama, because I thought it was funny to have the president of the United States on my website, right? So then I put Donald Trump's testimony up here and his photo, and then I got a letter from somebody saying, you don't have permission to use that photo, take it down. And then I realized, I really didn't have permission. I borrowed it, I got it from the internet. And then I couldn't find any open public images of my celebrities, so I just took them all down so I wouldn't get in trouble, which we'll talk about more about that later. Testimonies is a real easy section to get done. When we get by that, I'll point it out to you if we have time. But the most common question I get about testimonies is how do they get onto your website? And it's a process of you actually put the testimonies up there. So you would ask somebody, hey, can you give me a testimony, send me an email, maybe a photo, and then you can edit it, get it the way you want it, and then you can post it up on your website. If that's something that is a top priority for you and we don't have time today to get into it, let me know, get on my calendar, make us schedule an appointment, you know how to do that, or see me after class and we can make sure we put that up for you.
Is there a limit to the amount of testimonials you
To
can
my
have?
knowledge, there's not. There's two classifications of testimonials. There's a testimonials index, and then there's a testimonials featured. So you could have like 20 testimonials, and you could maybe feature 5 of them. You can check them to be featured, and they'll be on the front page, or you can feature all of them.
Okay.
So, and they just carousels through them. Finally, down the page, you just see some information about getting in touch, some call to action, reinforcing my beautiful mug right there, my brand image. That was a belly laugh. Who laughed at me? And then down here we got some certifications. There's a brief little certifications gallery that if you possess some of the certifications that they offer, I'll show you how to get those tapped in. Most everybody would agree you can get equal housing opportunity and at least the National Association of Realtor added. And then finally down towards the bottom in the footer, just some final contact information down here, and they repeat the social media badges, which we'll get control over. Social media, we'll get these tied in so they go to the right place. Right now, for mine, for example, they all go to KW, and I'll explain why mine go to KW and show you some options. Should come up, there it goes. Gary Keller doing his thing. All right, so those are things that are very obvious, I think, about my website, just kind of cruising down the landing page and seeing the main construction. That's where we're going to focus our stuff today, our efforts. But there's one more thing I want to show you that's not quite as obvious, but I definitely think it's worth mentioning, and that's that these websites are mobile responsive. Have you heard that term before, mobile responsive?
Super important.
Yeah, that is very important. It's a buzzword today. I guarantee you, if you contract a web developer to start building a website, that's going to be a question they're going to ask. Does it need to be mobile responsive? Of course, we charge extra for that. What's the big deal about mobile responsiveness? Is it basically means it's a universal layout. It means the website works on any device. Right now, my mobile responsive website is being presented to you on a desktop, right? Computer in the podium's transmitting through the projector, and you're seeing a desktop aspect ratio, meaning the width, the aspect ratio of the width and the height is characteristic of a computer. And so it lays out the website optimized for a computer. But should I get on a mobile device or a tablet, which I can simulate by just changing the aspect ratio, I'm going to reshape my browser window so it's more like a phone. Can you imagine that? See how that could look like the shape of a phone? Now the width and the height, even though it's 6 feet high, it's still kind of like a phone. And look at the website, what it's done. It's responded to the mobile aspect. Now, with the width and the height of a phone, you can see that some things have changed. The menu's changed. It's condensed into this accordion menu down here. If I click on it, there's all my stuff. my headshot and all this was too cramped. My social media was too cramped to fit in there, so they moved it so it's there, so it still works. You know, what's funny is my 8-year-old, he was 8 at the time, he's 11 now, told me the proper terminology for this button. Y'all know what this is called? It is called the hamburger. The hamburger.
Are you
Yeah, who knew
serious?
that? Yeah, the hamburger. I was trying to show him something on his tablet one day, and he said, I said, where's your settings? And he's like, well, click on the hamburger. And I'm looking for a hamburger, you know? And he got all frustrated with me, and I watched as he reached his hand right in front of me and he sighed, kind of like I might do with a customer or something, like, let me show you how to print again, you know? It was kind of like that. And he said, tap on the hamburger. And he schooled me that that's what this is called. That cracked me up. So you get a new menu that's condensed. My picture still fits, right? They resampled my picture, and it still fits in there. My property search still fits in there, which is great. And then, in fact, look at my featured properties. What's happened? It's turned my row into a column. And one day, somebody pointed out to me. They said, I noticed too that the pictures actually are larger in the mobile edition, which makes sense, right? That supports the idea of optimizing the website for mobile, because in your hand you probably do want the pictures a little bit bigger, so it works, you know. And if you're in a tablet may look sort of like this width. It'll reset. Nope, I can tell that it's not mobilized. I pulled it too much. There we go. That's kind of what a tablet would look like. Everything is accounted for, everything works, and everything is optimized. There's my testimonies and stuff to fit the existing aspect ratio. Go back to desktop there, and it resamples the website quickly. And I'm back in desktop mode. 2 reasons why this is important, folks. One, have you ever been on a website that's not mobile responsive, that's not mobile optimized? What kind of experience is that? Pretty lousy, right? Because you're sitting there holding your phone and if you're like me, you're pinching and zooming and panning around and trying to navigate the site, and then you try to click on a link, tap on a link, and your finger's too big to fit the link, and you click the wrong thing. Ultimately, what do?
You just stop.
You just stop. You bounce out of that site, you're gone, right? Which is not good. We don't want people doing that. We want people using our website on the mobile device, which is a perfect segue to reason number 2 this is important. Google thinks in those same terms. Google knows that more and more people are using the web on a mobile device. So think about how Google works. Google's value proposition to the world is that they're the most accurate and reliable search engine out there. If you want to find information on the web, you Google it, right? And what does Google do to serve its customers? It crawls every single page on the internet. That's an ambitious goal, but it literally does. It crawls every page on the internet, tries to analyze the content, what it's about, and then archive it into a database and wait for somebody to come along and search at Google for something that matches up to that website, right? So if you do a search for cars for sale in Atlanta, Google says, well, here's a list of websites about cars for sale in Atlanta. I've organized them in terms of relevance, the most relevant site first. Y'all know this, right? Then the next site, then the next site. That's what Google does. So to get that list of relevance, Google scores every web page. And there's a huge criteria for what it uses, right? There's an algorithm, it does all kinds of things. I mean, you make your head split if you knew the algorithm. But this is what I'm getting at, and this is what I find interesting. Recently, Google has added to the checklist when it scans a page, is the website mobile responsive or not? Because Google knows that more and more consumers are using mobile devices when they surf the web. And so if it scans your page or crawls your page is the right terminology, it also will test for mobile responsiveness. If you pass, it'll actually rank your site higher. If you fail and it's not mobile responsive, it'll push your site lower in the search ranks, which that blew my mind. I was like, wow, how about that? Now our old systems, KW's got more than one website system. If you didn't know that, Placer's not the only live system we have. There's e-agency. Have y'all heard that term? E-agency. And there's e-edge, that's more current. You probably heard of e-edge. Those words are very similar. I have to think of them every time before I say it. E-agency, e-edge, and then there's Placer. Those are 3 different systems. There it is. 3 different systems that build agent websites for us. Placer is considered the current. Placer is considered the go-to. That's the one that KW wants you to use. It's the one we're talking about today. But the reason I'm mentioning these others is I just want you to know they're not mobile responsive. This one is, right? It's built in. You can upgrade the e-agency site for about $1,400. They'll do an upgrade and they'll make it mobile responsive. But that's a moot point, right? E-agency is actually scheduled to go away soon. They've been saying that for 2 years, but I'm going to say it again soon. So y'all didn't get lost on that I just mentioned 3 different websites, did y'all? Okay,
No.
sometimes I feel bad about that. Yes, sir.
So you can see my KW, Dr. KW, but it's not necessarily mobile responsive.
mykw.kw.com is a mobilized, they have a mobilized site. That's a different topic. We're talking about, Placer sites here, but you're talking about the intranet for KW,
Mhm.
and it has what's called KW on the go.
Mhm.
And when you go to mykw.kw.com,
Mhm.
it should sense your device, whether it's a PC or a mobile,
Mhm.
and depending on what device you're on, it'll send you to the right content
But maybe
by design.
maybe I downloaded the wrong thing. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, there shouldn't be a download. There shouldn't be any user interaction at all. It should be automatic. I think you and I need to get together and
Okay,
talk, because
okay,
that's
okay.
one of the questions you asked me before class.
Mhm.
We should look at that together
Okay,
at
alright.
some point.
Um,
What do y'all think about this site so far and everything I've showed y'all?
Is it clean like that because that the template made it this way, or is it clean like this is because you made it this way?
It's clean because the template made it this way.
Okay.
In fact, one of the biggest complaints I get is people say, hey, I want to get in here and tweak some stuff, I want to put my featured properties in a circle instead of in a row or whatever. Or I want to add a picture of my dog on the front of my page or something, And here's the thing, there's a trade-off going on. It's very restrictive. It's a very tight template, right? But it does a really good job of what it's supposed to do. If you are a single agent working as a residential agent, this thing works great, right? It's super affordable because it's built into your monthly consortium fees. So it's a great economical incentive to launch your web presence with this site. But it's totally understandable to feel like you might outgrow it. You get into it and start using it, you may outgrow it. Your business may grow and you may have other needs. And I think it's normal to migrate off of this and go to a more custom website, You can pay Placester and they will unlock it and they get into some customizations. It's like $99 a month, I think, is what they do. I'm of the opinion if you're going to start paying for a website, you owe it yourself to shop around a little bit. There's plenty of KW products out there and affiliated vendors. You can do stuff with like Brandco, you can do stuff with Placester, you can hire people like Michael Tridhart. If you need some of those names, let me know, and build custom sites. But to get launched, this is a wonderful platform. It's rock solid, stable, it's very easy. And like you say, how did I get it so clean? They did all that.
Well, the other thing is just as an aside, not even anything with Keller Williams, but I do estate sales. And people are looking up our things on, I think it's called estatesale.net.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't pull up. Sometimes you do pull up.
No, that's no good.
Sometimes also what happens is that you can't see the information, especially if you're using a mobile device. So
Yeah.
it needs to be cleaned to see it.
Yeah, so you're speaking to the strengths right now
Mhm.
of the Placester
Mhm.
site.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that you're seeing this right now. Y'all ready to switch gears and talk about how to build yours?
Yes.
Yes.
Come back next week. Same time. No, I'm just kidding. So, the key to getting your site built, I wonder if I'm as funny as I think I am sometimes. Anyway, is going to mykw.kw.com. Excuse me, and logging in. So you should have a login for this. If you don't, you need to be speaking to, I guess, oh my God, Ruth Jackson. Ruth will help you out if you need it. See if I can do my password in front of everybody. Sometimes it's difficult.
See, you can pull this.
Yeah, I got it.
I got
So hopefully you recognize where I am now. This is the intranet for KW. This is our national site.
it.
This is sort of your home base.
How did
And-
you get your picture in there?
I completed my profile right over here where it says profile. And actually, they may put your picture in. Are you a new agent, still new to the office?
Yeah,
'Cause I
but they
think-
did not put my
I think you
picture
can
in.
just still edit, that's,
Yeah, you can just edit it. You can click on profile right here and you can edit it. Get with me after class, I'll show you how to do that if you want to. Or make an appointment with me, or stop by and see Ruth. Let her know you need to get your picture in your profile and she'll get it in for you, okay?
Oh, okay.
So here's where we're gonna do our work today. It's gonna be over here up in this technology band. It says KW websites. All I did, by the way, is I just hovered. If you click on technology, it shoots you off to another place on the webpage. So just hovering over the word technology inside of mykw.kw.com and then finding where it says KW websites, I'm clicking on KW websites and that's bringing us, this is the gateway here to the Placester site. And hopefully everybody in the room has a message on your gateway page that says, like mine does, your new website is ready, go to my website. Some people, it says it's not ready, come back later. If you've got that, it could be that you're such a new agent that it hasn't built the site yet. But if you've been here more than 7 days and it still says that, then you need to get on the phone with Placester, get with me, get with Ruth, and they'll push your solution along. And by the way, one more thing I wanted to show you real quick before I jump into that. A lot of times people are telling me they still see, when they come to this page here, they're telling me that they still see this pop-up right here. Oops, not that one. Let's see, maybe it's this one. They're getting this pop-up often. If you're still seeing this pop-up, hey, your KW website's ready to use. Notice the login back there, I'm in my intranet, but I get this pop-up. You can hit don't show me this again right there, check mark, and then close it and it'll go away. We're about, it just showed you how to get to it, so you won't need this pop-up as a crutch to get into your site. So if you see that pop-up and you're tired of it, suppress it right there. Do not show this again, then close it. Can't do it here because it's an image, and that'll settle down for you. So here we are back in technology, KW website. I'm at the portal. I'm going to click on go to my website. If you're following along with me right now, go ahead and click on go to my website with me. And that should take you to a dashboard for Placester. And here comes mine. It's a little bit of a busy dashboard. We're going to be working in one specific area. Before I get to that area though, let's get everybody in sync. Take a look here on your dashboard. When the dashboard comes up, find the area that says quick actions. And then focus your attention here on these first couple of items. Notice mine says view live site and then it says edit site. Yours may say that, but you may also see launch site. If you're looking with me right now and you see the words launch site in this area, go ahead and click through launch site now. Is anybody doing that? No? Everybody's?
It doesn't say that.
Okay, but it doesn't say launch site, then go ahead where it says edit site and click on edit site with me. It sounds like we're all together on the same page. You got something for me?
I'm just gonna ask you
What you got?
questions quickly. So I'm here, so I'll just wait for you to get to the advanced stage because I'm already launched.
Yep, you're launched. Go ahead and click on edit site.
Okay.
And then we're all in the same place.
Do you think it's because I'm on my phone?
It's possible. Let me just take a peek real quick, and I'll tell you. What do you say?
Maybe I didn't hit the right thing.
So, yeah, you're not in the right, quite the right spot.
How are you back there, Bridget?
So you need to be, so you tapped on KWLS, it used to be KW websites.
Oh, yes,
That's
I
it.
didn't mean to do
That's
that.
okay, you're in the right place.
He'll get us going. He's good at that.
What is the question?
No, we're just chatting.
We're just ready for you to roll with us.
So this is the heart of where we're gonna spend our time today. We're gonna be working here in this edit site. We're gonna cover these topics here. We're gonna cover listings, excuse me, I'll lit up everything. Where we're gonna connect our website to the database and make sure everything's working correctly. There's our IDX integration. Remember we talked about IDX. And then we'll get into site design where we'll cover these topics here. We'll work our way through these topics. And usually by the time I get through site design, believe it or not, it's pretty much 4 o'clock at that point in time.
Can I ask?
Yes, you may.
So sorry. So if you would on another tab pull up a site and tell me if that is something that was done by us, we could manage to do that? WhereLuxuryLives.com. It's a Placester website.
Oh, you want me to see that site real quick?
If you don't mind.
Sure. Okay.
Where luxury lives?
.com.
That sounds good.
LuxuryLives.com. This is a Placester site.
Yeah, and I'm just curious if this is done by Placester or is
No,
that
this looks like a
something-
basic, this
Okay.
looks like the basic edition. This
Okay.
does not look enhanced.
Okay.
We will talk about the templates in a bit, and they may have put in some custom slides, which we'll
Okay.
talk about today. But yep, this is a standard
Okay.
Placester
Okay.
site with the one exception of it's a luxury designation,
Yeah.
which you must have that luxury
Correct.
designation before you can pull it out.
Correct.
Pretty site.
Thank you.
So we'll go through all this information here, and then like I said, it pretty much will be about 4 o'clock, and we'll switch gears and just go into workshop mode and work on stuff and answer questions. Speaking of questions, I've answered your questions so far, but now I want to change gears on questions. I want to hold our questions right now, right, so we can boogie through this information. If I get through the first section over there, all the site design, the listing section, and you still have a question I didn't answer, let's hear it real quick. And if it's something good for the whole room, maybe we'll entertain that and work on it, but I may ask you to work after class with me, and then let me get through the entire site design before you ask your question. I will do a pretty good job of getting your questions answered, But if at the end I still haven't answered your question, I will certainly give you an opportunity, and that way we can stay on track. Does that sound good? Is that a fair recommendation? All right, so let's get started. And the first question I want to ask is there anybody lost right now? Everybody on the same page with me?
Okay,
All I've done, just so you know, this is what you should be seeing, because you should be seeing this page, and then you click on
go to website.
Right, and then focus your attention on the dashboard when it comes up. Watch this. When the dashboard comes up, look in this section right here and see, does it say launch site? If it says launch site, click on launch site. If it doesn't say launch site, click on edit site, and you'll be with us. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, now here we go. So the first thing we're going to work on is IDX integration. IDX integration is right here. I'm going to click on this, click on it with me. This first slide out, what this is doing is allowing us to connect our website to the MLS database. So what we're doing right now is getting control. Here I am back on my website. We're getting control of this property search and getting control of these featured properties. We're determining the source for all of our listing details. So here I go back to my Placester page, and you look at my choices. I can connect Georgia MLS, First MLS, or KWLS. And yours may say First Multiple Listing Service of Georgia written out. It's the same thing as mine, First MLS. And the words across show you what are connected. Notice what mine's connected to? It says selected here. I'm selected to KWLS. What's KWLS? Anybody know? Keller Williams Listing System, right? What are you going to find inside the Keller Williams Listing System database?
All of our listings.
Keller Williams listings, right? So think about this. If your website is connected to the KWLS listing, are you seeing all the inventory in the market? No, you're not. All you're seeing is KW. Crazy as it may seem, out of the box, without making any adjustments to your website, by default, everybody's connected to KWLS. So if you don't come to this class, or if you don't find that information out, you just launch your site, lo and behold, all your site will know about are KW listings.
wow.
So that's valuable right there for coming just this far to learn that you've got to get this thing connected to another MLS database. I recommend First MLS of Georgia. I'm going to click on use this MLS, and it's going to connect me, or connect my website, not me, but connect my website to FMLS. Before I commit this, I'm going to look one more time at region though. See where it says region? Mine says region Georgia. Make sure yours says region Georgia. If it says something different, click on edit, and you may have to go through here and select Georgia. If you do make a selection, what you have to do is once you choose your answer, there I go, choose Georgia, to get it to stick, just come over here and click off to the side. Left click to the side, and it'll collapse the menu again. And once you have First MLS selected and Georgia locked in, hit the green button to commit that, and now your website will be talking to FMLS. That's the first step. You may get this pop up, just send it away, hit that X to go away, and move on down to the next topic, which is global filters. Click on global filters right after IDX integration, and I'm just going to give everybody the right answer here. 99% of everybody I know, the right answer for global filters is divided into 3 tabs. Pick the first tab called All Listings, and then come down. Once you tap on All Listings, find this sentence that says display all listings from my MLS on my website. Click the checkbox and then lock it in. And what we're doing is we're basically telling Placester that we want it to search against FMLS, and we want it to show any listing when somebody does a search. We want to make any listing available, no matter what the price is, no matter what the condition is. Excuse me, my computer wants to reboot to a Windows update. Thinks now is a good time. Maybe it's gone now. Okay. So anyway, we want to do global filters, all listings, and hit this checkbox, display all listings. Check this out. This is a common mistake that people make. Don't do this, but I just want you to see it real quick. I think I get a phone call after people have noodled around and trying to discover the website. They'll end up at global filters, and they'll do something like this. They'll get to filtered listings, and they'll start adding search criteria. Maybe come in here and do, I see this a lot, right? Where they'll come in and put max price, and they'll add that, and they're like, I think I know how this works, and they'll come in and they'll define it. 250,000. Let's see what that does, right? Now, if I were to go down here and save that, That means that because this is a global filter, if I were to do that, nowhere on my website would you see anything more than 250,000. So if you just had a listing, you took a listing for 350,000, but you accidentally had a global filter like this in place, your consumer would never see their listing on your website because of that global filter. So it's kind of a dangerous thing. Go to all listings, hit display all listings, sentence, and then save, and then don't go back there again without talking to me. All right, featured listings. Now featured listings, we're getting control over, I'll show you on my website, we're getting control here over these featured properties, right? We're getting control over what shows up by getting the featured listings. This is also one of the first places that we're going to work in that as you make changes, you can visibly see the changes to your website. So I want to point out on our dashboard here, at the top right, if you scroll up, there's this View Live Site where you can check in on your website as you're making changes. So if you click on View Live Site, you'll see it's going to pull up, for me, it's going to pull up my Treehouse Finder. For you, if you've never seen your website and you just clicked on View Live Site, you're finally seeing your website in its current state. And if you just launched your site, of course, it's going to be sort of missing some things, and that's okay. We're here today to get it dressed up. But you can at least see your site as you're making progress. And I notice already that there's been a change. Look at my featured properties. Do y'all catch the difference? FMLS badges are showing up. So that's a telltale sign right there. If you look at your website and you don't see Georgia MLS badges or FMLS badges, you know for some reason or another you're connected to KWLS and you know what to do. Go back and check it and make sure it's connected to FMLS. Also, my inventory changed. I don't know if y'all noticed that. I notice these things, so I see it over and over and over again. So here we go, back to my Placester control panel, and I'm going to tap into featured listings, and we're going to start working through those two scenarios that I told you about. The first scenario in getting control of our featured listings is going to be, let's pretend we're an agent with no inventory. You just want to get listings that are relative to our market and to our business, and we want to try and get control over what's showing up as our showcase. In that first scenario, that type of answer is going to be found by working with filtered listings. There's two tabs, filtered and specific. We're going to be in filtered listings. Let me go back to my website for a minute and let's talk about what's going on here. I'd say the first problem with the inventory that's showing up is the price. I mean, I would love to sell those big prices, right? But if I'm really trying to be realistic on my website, I'm going to start by bringing the price down on these and get them into my range, and I'm also going to work on the geography because these are all over the place. It's all over FMLS, and I'm going to try and localize the listings that are showing up across here. So here I am in my featured properties control panel, and I'm under the filtered listings tab, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find where it says max price, and I'm going to set a max price. This is different than a global filter. This is just impacting that row of listings. We're not making a change across the whole website. I'm going to set a max price that's appropriate for Brookhaven. Can you help me out with a price that you think would be a good, realistic, sort of middle of the road max price if I wanted to just kind of get a cross section of inventory?
650.
650?
Were you going to say something?
Yeah.
That works for me. I have no idea. So 650 it is.
Yeah.
Can I get 650 in one? Like Price is Right? There we go. One more zero. There we go. So watch these numbers as I start changing these numbers. I'm going to set that max price at 650, and as I hit search, it's going to show me how many results I get that match that criteria. I'm going to hit search, and this number should change. It did. It went down a little bit to 37,000. This is telling me that I've got 37,956 listings in FMLS that match the one criteria I've set, which is max price of 650,000. Now I'm also going to work with some geography here. I don't see anything that says geography, right? These are all price, and oh, there's a zip. That's kind of geography. But what I'm going to work with is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add a search criteria, and I'm going to come in here and see what choices I've got, and I'm going to look for geography. They call it location. Look at these different types of location criteria I can set. Now, some of these are relatively new. I've been teaching this class for almost 2 years, and about 5 months ago, you had probably 6 different choices in this pull down, and then all of a sudden one day all these other choices showed up, and I got real excited because I used to criticize their IDX and say the one thing I hate about their IDX is they didn't have schools, and look, now they've got schools. The schools are starting to work. Not all these criteria work yet, So you may have to just kind of hit and miss with it, but I know that things like city will work, county works, elementary, high school, middle school works, neighborhood works. School district, I don't know if that works. I know state will work. So let's just play with this for a minute and go with city, just so you can experience this. I've set city, I'm gonna add that to my list right here. Click on add, and look what it's done. It's now added a new blank called city, and I'm gonna start typing in a city. So I'm gonna type in Brookhaven. Notice how it's starting to suggest the word Brookhaven? That's not my browser doing that. That's the fact that the site is connected to FMLS, and it knows that there's a city in FMLS that starts out with BROOKHAVEN. It's starting to fill it out. I can just hit on that right there, Brookhaven. I want to save my work for a minute. Search it, and let's see what my numbers look like. 37,000 now, let's search. There we go, 230. Look at that number just plummeting, right? 230. That's okay, because we're just trying to get 4 listings up on my website, right? So that's fine. So I got 230 listings that match this 650 max price in the city of Brookhaven. I'm liking that. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now I want to see what it looks like on my website. So I can scroll up here. Hey, thanks for coming and starting out with us. We'll catch up.
It doesn't work so well with the phone.
I know, it's hard on the phone. So
Yeah,
we'll get
sorry.
it.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
I'll catch you on
Sounds good.
online.
So I'm going to hit view live site again. And now take a look at my page and start looking. And look at this. Things are starting to get kind of tight again. I've got the right price and I've got the right location. And how many met that criteria? Do you remember what the number was? 230, right? Remember we said that? So just so you know what's happening here is it's displaying 4 tiles, but really what I've done is I've created a pipeline of those 230. It's feeding all 230 into this row, and it's showing these 4, but then those other 230 are staged back here waiting to go in. So if the Cordia Avenue were to go off the market, if it's sold, this tile would come off and the next one in that line would take its place. You get it? So I've built this pipeline of inventory based on that criteria. Now it's choosing which house it shows, which listing it shows, based on a value called default sort order. If I go back to my control panel and tap into my featured listings again, it's showing the criteria that I have defined, max price and city, but it's coming down here and look at this default sort order right here. It's set priced highest to lowest. So I could come in here and I could kind of manipulate that if I want to. One thing I do like is total images, most. If I set that value, then now what it's going to do is it's going to list the listings, the one with the most photos will be up front. And if I'm trying to showcase some inventory, usually the most photos up front is a pretty good selection of inventory. I'm going to come down and save that. Now I know I've told you about View Live Site, right? Right here, this link. I hate it. Now that I've showed it to you, the reason I don't like it is every time I click on it, if you haven't picked up on it, it spawns another version of my website up here. Look, I'm starting to collect these tabs up here. If I click on it again, View Live Site, now I got 3, and that drives me nuts. So what I usually do is I don't hit View Live Site every time. I usually keep these closed, and what I'll do is I'll make changes and then come up here and click on my tab, and then I'll recycle the page to see my changes. So here we go. This page is stale because I've made changes. I'm recycling it. Now it's fresh. Now I'm showing those same 230 listings, but the 4 that it's picking are the listings with the most pictures first, which is a cool thing. I also like the way it jumbles the prices.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of looks more purposeful, you know? So if I click on this right here, of course it's powered by IDX, so we're going to see all the public information minus my contact information. There you go. So I can look at this listing and say, wow, I better call Scott. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Or something like that.
And you did that under the featured listings?
I did that under featured listings. Go back to featured listings here. You can play around with lots of criteria here. One thing, notice with city, Brookhaven was pretty good. I like that, but I could add even more. I could come in here and I could say Buckhead. Although Buckhead is a bad idea. Do y'all know why?
Why?
So much.
Are there more condos or apartments than, homes?
No, it's, if I do a Buckhead, notice I took Brookhaven out and put Buckhead in there and hit search, found 7 homes. Look at that, Buckhead, 650,000. If I hit save and go look at my website, refresh it there, it's gonna show Buckhead homes under 650,000. There they are. What do you think about those Buckhead homes?
They're not so
Something's
pretty.
wrong, right?
Yeah.
The problem is, and I just kind of want to emphasize the point, this system is talking to FMLS. Have you ever typed the city Buckhead into FMLS? What do you get? You get Buckhead, Georgia, way up north by the lake, right? You got to think like FMLS. That's the point. Why I wanted to see, just wanted you to see that. So Brookhaven works because it's incorporated. It's in FMLS. If you really wanted to show some Brookhaven listings, you would do better to come in and instead of doing a city, let's dump that out.
Yeah.
Zip code could work, but what about this? What if I went to neighborhood, add that, and what if I put the name of some condos in? Can you think of an example? Anything come to mind?
You want condos or
Yeah.
just a neighborhood?
Condo.
Lennox
Anything?
Green.
What was it?
Lennox Green.
Linux. I should just start typing the words Linux, right? Linux Woods, maybe? I don't know. Let's see what Linux Woods looks like. 'Cause I didn't see Linux Green. Again, you got to think sort of like,
There's that Ritz-Carlton, oh, that's not Brooklyn.
I'm going to take this price out too. Let's just get that out. Let's just search. Got nothing. It's all right. Let's go to the real information here. Let's say Buckhead condo names. Buckhead condos. Condos in Buckhead. I just want to get an example of one. Oaks at Buckhead. I see one down there. Let's just go in here to take out Linux. Start typing the word Oaks. Oaks. Look at that.
There you go.
Now what's going on here? We got Oaks at capital A and Oaks at lowercase a. You see this in FMLS, right? It means an agent put it in that way, right? Familiar, isn't it? I'm just going to do that one now, search and see what we get. We had 4. Perfect. Phew. It's hard in front of a room full of people. Let me go look at it and see. So notice how I utilized neighborhoods that time. And I'm going to go refresh it. And now what we should be seeing are some shots from MLS for those condos. Maybe I am the Oaks at whatever specialist. That would make sense. And keep in mind, what we're doing here is we're not defining the overall global search properties. If somebody wanted to see something other than that condo, they could certainly come up here to this listing search and they can search all over FMLS, because remember we opened up that search wide open globally. All we're doing is just trying to drill in and get some showcase listings here, that's all. We're just trying to dress up our storefront, so to speak, right? And so we're just trying to find criteria that is suitable for our business, our geography, our price point, and get them staged up there on our website. I find sometimes people are filling this out and they're like frantically trying to write every zip code they're willing to work in, every city they're willing to work in, every situation. I'm like, it's not that important to get everything you're willing to do. All you're trying to do is get a cross section to just show some showcase listings. That's all this is. One more thing I'll show you, we'll change gears, and that is, I see your hand, I'll get it in 1 second. So one more thing I'll show you is, I forgot what it was. Can you believe that?
Can you search around an address and pull up the neighborhood?
Oh yeah, you sure can.
Oh, that's awesome. Great question.
Wait, can you search around an address and find the neighborhood? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I was going to say you can search by address. You could come over here and add a search criteria, and you could come in and you could say, where is it? Property details. Property details, and I believe you can put in the address. Property. Oh, hang on. I know you can do it in here somewhere. Oh, street address. There it is, under location. So you could search specifically under a street address. So you maybe could put in a street name and find listings on a certain street. That's possible.
Okay.
I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking.
That is.
Oh, okay. There you go. There's the answer. And I remember what I was going to tell you. Sometimes people will get search criteria. Let's do something like, let me take neighborhood out, street address out. Let me put back, I'm going to do city for now. Let me do Brookhaven because they were really pretty. I like them, Brookhaven. Alright, so sometimes people will complain that they're seeing rentals or different stuff, maybe some lots and lands and things like that. You can add search criteria such as this. You can go in here and you can say, show me Brookhaven, of course, but also go to property details, and you can come in and say, show me property type, add that, there it is, property type's now been added, and you can come in here and you can say, only show me residential detached. Or maybe, I guess, attached would be more like condos, right, and stuff like that. So you could flip it, the switch that way. So maybe I wanna show just residential detached, and then maybe I could come in and add another search criteria for property details and do purchase type. We just did property type, now I'm doing purchase type. Add that, and by purchase type I can come in here and I can choose sale or rental. So if I don't want to show both, I just want to show one or the other, I could say lock it in for sale only, and that would take all the rentals out if you're seeing a bunch of rentals in your featured properties. That was what I'd forgotten I wanted to show y'all. So now I've got this tuned up the way I want it. We got 255 listings. I'm going to save them, and I've got a little pipeline now of inventory, 25 listings that are feeding into these 4 slots. And that's kind of set it and forget it now, right? I don't have to think about it. I just know that until I get a listing, then I've got some inventory that's floating on my website, and if I get a phone call about a listing I don't know about, I jump into a buyer's agent script with the phone call, you know. But let's say you got a listing. Now you got an inventory and you want to put it up on your website. Let's switch gears and show a second type. I'm sorry, did you still want to ask that question?
No, keep going. You're on the.
Good. So if we go in
You're
here,
getting to where I'm going.
you gotta understand, I made a hard line about questions, but I'm a sucker for questions. You know, that's the trouble. It's hard. You gotta hold me accountable. All right, so back over here under featured listings. We've been working under filtered listings, but now we're gonna move to specific listings because we're answering the second scenario where you actually have inventory. And look at the tool. It looks kind of familiar. We've got a search criteria, but then down here at the bottom, our results get split into 2 different columns. On the left-hand side is the results of searches you build up here in the top. So you build your criteria, hit search, and whatever the answers are, they show up here on the left. The idea is that whatever you got on the left, if you want to show it on your website, you specify by moving something from the left to the right. Whatever's in the right-hand column is what's going to show up on your page. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow all these criteria away. These carried over from our previous example. I'm just going to get rid of those for a minute, and I'm going to embrace this scenario as if I'm an agent with inventory. And so I'm going to come down here, and the quickest way to find my inventory of active listings would be to add a search criteria and come down to the options all the way to the bottom, I think it is. Oh, they moved it. It's kind of in the middle. This section here, agent office info, and look, agent email, agent ID, agent name, office ID, office name. The agent ID is a winner. Right, if I add that criteria, now there it is, agent ID. If my database is connected to FMLS, then that means they want the agent ID for my FMLS account. Not the password, just the username. So I would have to put my FMLS username in. I'm not an agent, I don't have an FMLS username, but Lisa Vale does, and she's agreed to let me play with her FMLS username. Lisa Vale, her website is the V Team, and her username for FMLS is VTeam. So I'm putting right now Lisa Vale's FMLS username in agent ID, and I'm just role playing as if I'm Lisa Vale. So here we go. I'm going to hit my search, and I'm going to focus my attention on this bottom left. Here we go. And I got 11. These 11 are, and I'm familiar enough with her inventory these days to know those are her listings. So those, she's got 11 listings, and what I could do is I could move them one at a time. I could highlight that one and say add, or I could quickly say add all. So she had 11 listings. I hit add all. This is kind of a little quirky thing, but it's worth mentioning. How many listings came across when I hit add all? 10. Look what's going on. Just so you know, it only shows 10 at a time. So if she's got 11 results, it's got page 1 and 2 of results. I would have to, if I want to get them all moved over, I still got to go to page 2, and there's my final one, and I'll just say add all. You can double click on it, it'll move it over, or add all. And now, look at that, there's my 11. So now I've moved over 11 of her inventory over to the right, which means these are going to be pinned up on her website, on my website. The default sort order I've got, price highest to lowest. so be it. I'm gonna save this and go look at my page. Y'all with me on this?
Yes.
So I'm gonna recycle. This is stale now, that's going away. I'll recycle my page, and now scenario 2 should be appearing. And sure enough, these are Lisa Vale's listings. Now we've scheduled 11 to be pinned to her website, but how many do you see? 4. That's a limitation of this template, the Madison template. In a little bit, we're gonna learn how to activate other templates. Different templates handle featured properties differently. This one happens to have room for 4. There's some templates that have room for up to 11. Some of them have 9, so it's different, right? But this one here, we've got 4 tiles, and we've got 11 that are pipelined into here. And if Shiver Summit were to go off the market, that tile would come off, and the next one in that group of 11 would fill its place, right? So I've got my specific inventory showing on the website. What if, for example, what if I went in and I were to go to featured listings, and let's say I didn't have 11 listings. Let's say I had less than 4. Watch this, I'm gonna remove that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna remove all these, get these listings out. We go put that agent ID back in. And I'm gonna see if P. Simone, usually she has a couple listings. Let me search that, see what she has. She's got 2, right? So this is a question I get a lot of times. I'll add all. There we go. Hunter's Crossing and Silvapine. Lock that in. She's got 2 inventory there. If I go look at my website now and recycle the page, that's now stale because I've made changes. I'm recycling it. I feel like I should be tap dancing for you when that's happening. Wait, no, there it is. So that functionally works, right? There's the 2 inventory right there. But if you're like me, this kind of thing drives you crazy. I'm a very symmetrical person, right? And just having those 2 over to the side drives me nuts. If they were to center that, I think I'd actually be okay with it. Isn't that funny? If you're also like me, though, you know there's 2 more slots. Don't you want to get them filled?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So I like this scenario because this question comes up a lot. What if I don't have 4 to fill out? So I've created that scenario to give you some ideas of what you can do. So I'm going to look at some things here. She's got a 625, and these are probably East Cobb listings, I would bet. She's got a 625 and a 385. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay attention to this 385 number for a minute. I'm going to hold on to that number in my mind and watch what I do. And just watch what I'm doing for a minute and see if you can pick this up. I'm going to go back down to featured listings, and I'm in specific listings. Can't highlight it. And there's my 2, Hunter's Crossing and Silvapine. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up here, and in this scenario, if I want to fill out my featured property, I'm done using this agent username because it only produced 2, and those 2 have already been moved over. So I'm going to delete this one here, get rid of P. Simone, and in this scenario, I may not want to add another agent-specific listings. Possibly, but here's some ideas of what I could do. I could add new search criteria, and I could come in here and I could say, maybe I'll add, well, here's an idea. Actually, I could come in and add listings from my office. Office ID. What's your broker code here?
KWPR01.
Right? KWPR01. Let's search that and see what we get. I got 418 listings that resulted in that. Yeah, I got 418 listings in this market center right now. That's pretty awesome,
Yeah.
right? Now, if I were to move all those over and my default sort order is set price highest to lowest, chances are these 2 are going to get knocked out of the premium position, right? So here's the trick. I'm keeping in mind this 385. I'm going to set a limit so that these stay first. So I'm going to go back to my tool. And before I commit everything, I'm going to keep the KWPR01 in there, but I'm going to add a max price rule. Max price down there, max price, there it is. And her lower inventory was 385, so I'm going to put 380,000
Max.
as my max price, right? Strategically lower than this number here. Because the sort order says show highest to lowest. So watch, if I search that now, I got 219 listings. I'm going to add them all. Now I've got 12 pinned over. I'm gonna come down here, and if I wanna build sort of a pipeline, I know this is a pain to do it this way, but you just gotta go number 2, add all. If you really pay attention, now there's 22 right there. If you really pay attention to where you scroll it, you can get it so you can see the page numbers and add all at the same time. There's number 3, add all. Number 4, add all. Number 5, add all. My number's at 41. We could try to get 50. Add all. 51. Now I got 51 listings. Check it out. Hunter's Crossing, Silva Pine are still there. And I got all those other inventory. I'm going to save that. Go look at my page. Now I'm going to recycle it. And how cool is this? Watch. My 2, my Simonis are there. And now I've got a dynamic list starting from here on out. So I got 50 behind that. So now I can kind of just set that and forget it. You get it? So now my 2 listings will stay up there. And let's say that Wind Creek sells. That'll come off. The next one of my 51 will come in. Or if Brandenburg Circle comes off, then that'll slide over and it'll fill the gap. Meanwhile, my 2 listings that are mine stay up here in a premium location in my list. This is just one way to handle it, right? The scenario being it's your inventory, but you didn't have 4 to show up, 4 or more. So you're mixing it up a little bit. I think this is the quickest I've ever gotten through this topic, this class right now, just now. Usually people are hurting through this part. And y'all seem to be taking it pretty well. That's awesome.
You're explaining it very well.
Well, I appreciate that. That's good. It's probably about my 50th time to explain it, so you know what I mean, that helps. If you've got questions, or not if you have questions, but I'll say this: if this flew over your head, or if you're thinking of another scenario that's more complicated than this, I would encourage you to get on my schedule. What happens a lot of times, people see this information today, and then 2 weeks from now, you're in that situation yourself, and you're like, now what did he do? Perfect example, get on my calendar and say, hey, I gotta get my feature property sorted out. Book an appointment with me, open up a help desk ticket, I'll be happy to help you do that. Before I change gears and move on to another topic though, are there any questions of anything I've covered so far? Y'all are good? Y'all ready to move on? Very good. Wow, we're gonna get out here maybe a little, not early, but we'll get out of here for sure on time at this rate. All right, so we have completed everything to listings. Let's switch gears down here to go to site design and start talking about theme selection. This option here for theme selection is what allows us to choose, I call it a template, they call it a theme, allows us to choose the theme of our website. There are 8 basic templates you can pick through. You see right here, I'm on 7 of 8. The default of the 8, is the Madison. That's what I'm on. I'm on the Madison. And if you just launched your site today, it would start you out on the Madison. Typically, the red banner Madison is where you start. You can make some choices to this template. I can choose different themed colors. These are, think of it as a broad paint stroke though. I can't be specific. I can't say I want a red banner and a blue button here, but I can say I want this orange, and it'll change the whole thing into an orange theme or gray. Then you can flip through and look at different templates by thumbing over these little arrows. Here's the Madison Metro. Very similar to the Madison, template number 8 of 8. I asked them at the booth once, I said, what's the difference between Madison Metro and Madison? And the guy said it's just very subtle little differences in some of the locations of where they plant things and some of the font treatments. I can't perceive a difference between them really, but they say there's subtle differences. You start getting some marked differences once you get into these. And by the way, now I'm at the Plymouth, which is template 1 of 8. Back here on these Madisons, the Madison Metro and the Madison, these were designated official KW templates. Only KW agents can get their hands on this. If somebody else, a competitor, were to have a retail account with Placester, then they would start out with the Plymouth. Everybody has access to the Plymouth. Plymouth is a real popular one. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. I'll just keep flipping for a minute, let you see some of these others. There's the Fremont. So you just kind of browse through these and see if there's something you like. There's the Phoenix. If you decided you like that, you can maybe assign a color. I'll do the green Phoenix. There it is. You could save that, lock it in, go look at your website. Now this page is stale, right? Because I made changes. I'm going to recycle it. And what we should see is the Plymouth come up. Excuse me, the Fremont. There it is. So there's my same website rebuilt in the Fremont. A couple things are different, right? The property search across my image is gone. The image is no longer a full bleed, it's actually framed in the website. It looks quite different. My quick search is up there. Look at my inventory. I had 51 listings, 2 of which were Simone's, and then the rest were all dynamic I put in there. But look, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one could have 8 tiles instead of the 4. That's twice as many tiles. Kind of neat. And see, if I looked at this and saw, oh, I don't like this, you know what to do, right? I could go in there and change my property type and say, show single family or show residential detached. And that would get rid of these lot lands and stuff like that if I wanted to. But back onto my template, I can keep browsing through and looking at my theme selection. Keep going through. There's number 5 of 8, Sedona. The Toronto, I kind of like the Toronto actually. Back to number 7 again, the Madison, the default. Now, if you're this speaks to your question, if you are a luxury agent, if you actually have luxury designated on your role in white pages, then you'll get a 9th template will pop up, and it'll be the characteristic black bannered version of the site, which was here. There's an example right there.
Ooh, nice.
Right? Did I lose the whole top end? Where'd it go? Why is it mobilized at the moment? That is so weird.
Which one is that? Oh, that's
Is
the
that-
luxury one.
Wait a minute, what happened? I must have clicked on something. What was the web address you gave me earlier? Where?
It's right up there, where luxury lives.
Oh, okay.
You have it up
I
there.
don't know what that page was I just had, but there we go. There, that's what the luxury template looks like. And you'll recognize it's very similar to the Madison. Basically, it's the Madison rebuilt with a black banner, and the KW logo is the luxury logo. Notice your color choices here: red, purple, blue, no black. That's a common question. People say, hey, how do you get the black Madison? When I hear that, I realize, oh, they're misinterpreting the luxury for the Madison. If you are a commercial agent, you'll get a template that comes on automatically as a commercial designated. All right, you can play around with those. So a couple things about the templates. A real popular alternative to the Madison that I see out there is the Plymouth. Template number 1 of 8. People like it because of the full bleed image and the property search is below the fold. Let me demonstrate that to you. I'm going to put it in gray for now and hit save. Go look at my website. So it's coming out of the Toronto and coming into the Plymouth, which is a very popular option. There's my site rebuilt in the Plymouth. So it's full bleed image again, but the property search is no longer in the middle. It's low, it's below. They usually call it below the fold. I guess this below the fold just means whatever you see when you load the page is above the fold, and then there's this imaginary line down here, and as you scroll down, in this example, featured listings would have been below the fold. It's a newspaper term. Back when you buy newspapers folded up on the side of the road, whatever you see on the top fold was the most expensive area to purchase because everybody could see it when they walked by. If you wanted to see below the fold, you had to buy the newspaper and unfold it. So not as many people saw that, and that's where the term comes from. So whatever you see when you load the page from this imaginary line at the bottom up is called above the fold, and usually the Plymouth property search falls below the fold. It just happens to be my screen is so big, it's putting it up. That's one thing that people sometimes tell me they don't like about the Plymouth. But other than that, aesthetically it's pretty good. One other challenge of the Plymouth is your headshot doesn't show at the top. Y'all notice my headshot's missing? But if you come down below, my headshot's down here. But check this out. Look at this example of the Plymouth. This is something I get excited about. I think it's really cool. If I go over to mysmyrnarealtor.com, this is Christina Zerker's page out of Cityside. And look what she did. She's on the Plymouth. And she solved the headshot picture. Did you see that? Let me go back.
How'd she do that?
Now this is sliding, right? I didn't have slides in mind, but this is the traditional slides. And I'm gonna hit this little navigation, this little micro navigation down there, and go back to her first slide and hold it. There's her first slide. Look at that slide for a minute. Is that awesome or what?
Love it.
Me too. Very creative.
Love that.
So I asked her. I said, "How'd you do that?" You know, and she said, "Well, She said, I took a picture of one of the porches of my listing." That's what's on the left-hand side. And then she downloaded some free clip art that says Home Sweet Home. And then she took her headshot and she tightly cropped it, very tightly cropped it, right? And she fused this all together. She put the left and the right together. Now she used third-party software to do that. She used something like Photoshop or GIMP. If you haven't used GIMP, it's a free computer software, a PC-based software that you can edit images. But she connected those two together, and it made sort of a fuse in the middle that she concealed by putting her headshot over the middle of the seal there. And it's highly, tight, really, really tightly cropped. And then over on the far left, she incorporated the Keller Williams Cityside logo with a clear, transparent background. We're going to get our hands on that actually in a little bit with this logo. And so she put her company logo there. She put her compliant logo here. And she uploaded this as a custom slide. In just a minute, we're going to work on custom slides. And I think that was a genius use of the Plymouth, where it automatically puts your headshot way down here. That's the first place you'll see it naturally. But she solved that. Looks really good. So that's mysprinterrealtor.com. If you want to take a minute and look at her site when you get home or when you're thinking, she's got a good site, good for inspiration. Another one that's a good Plymouth is Michael Bunch's site, which is Bunch Real Estate. Ooh, I think it's Real Estate Team. Yeah, hang on, that's not it. It's Bunch. That's his E-Edge site there, Bunch Real Estate Group. Or is it Team? There we go. Here comes the Plymouth again. And so what he chose to do, I think he's got a really high res image in there. He might need to reduce that. But instead of doing the slideshow, he just did a custom image in there. I thought that looked pretty good. He's got his little Bunch logo in the middle of his image that he created. He did that, of course, with a third-party software. Got his image prepped, put his logo on there, and then he uploaded the slide, and he's using the Plymouth. It's a real clean, modern look, though. There's all his featured properties and his blog component. We don't get into blogs today. That's something I can work with you on your one-on-one if you need to. So Bunch Real Estate Group is another good example of the Plymouth. So as you're looking through theme selection, try to pick one that you like. You can always go back and reselect it if something goes wrong and you don't like it anymore. I'm going to put myself back on the red Madison for now. And one thing I'll show you that's unique to the Madisons is you do get this option number 3. And you won't see it on the other banners. Option number 3 is the choice of whether you want a full colored banner or do you want a clear white banner. And that's unique to the Madisons. Only the Madisons offer a colorized banner choice. If you look at all these other ones, the Plymouth, it's a white banner. All of them are white bannered at the top. Right, so you don't get to fill in the color. So if you're after a colored banner, which surprisingly a lot of people are, you're going to have to use the Madison or the Madison Metro and answer number 3. And then finally, number 4 option, which is again unique to Madison, is the ability to add a statement to display over your slideshow. I'm not a big fan of the statement, but I'll put an example and see what you think, because I think it's kind of difficult on the website. Let me save that and go look. Here we go, recycle my page. And you can see where it says, call Scott Hardy today, 678. There's my statement, and I think there's a lot of chance to get that lost, especially with an image like mine, right? Can y'all even read that? So I don't recommend the statement, but I'll just show it to you for a minute so you can see it. All right, let me get myself back onto the red Madison, take my statement out, and we'll move on here to slideshow. Now here's a nice little trick. For the statement, if you have a statement up here and you want to get rid of it, this is a little bug. Notice I've got nothing written there. If I save that and then go back and look, it remains on my site. It'll be red now, there it goes, with my statement still intact. So the trick is, go back to it, get in there, and for the statement, just make it a space. Just put one space with the space bar, save it, now get rid of it again. That took me forever to figure that out, by the way. That was frustrating. Because I hate the statement, and then I couldn't get rid of it. So, there we go. So now what we're going to talk about is how to get control of this image in the background, where I've got this hammock and an amazing treehouse. We're going to show you how to work with some of the slideshows you can customize. Whoops, wrong spot. That's where we need to be right here. So we just finished up theme selection, and now we're going to move on down to slideshow, where I'm going to click into the slideshow here. And this allows us to get control over our different slides. Now, I have a custom slideshow called Treehouse V3 that I created. You're not gonna see that. Don't worry about that for now. I'm gonna keep scrolling down. This is what you should see when you click on slideshow. The first one should be something called interiors. There's one called variety is another one, luxury properties and so forth. So I'll let you see these. The interior, you can thumb through these and just get an idea what the slides would look like. The slideshow can host up to 5 images per slideshow. These built-in ones provided by Placester all feature 5 images. There's the interiors. Here's one called variety. This happens to be the default, by the way. A lot of you, if you're on a default Red Madison, we're probably using the variety slideshow. Luxury properties features these 5 slides here. Some of those you might recognize. 2 of those were on Christina Zerker's site. She used 2 of those and then customized the rest. Mid-price homes looks like this. Kind of interesting. And then finally there's the nature. I don't know how that would really work into your real estate business, but they're pretty for sure. I guess maybe you want a challenge. I don't know right, how to make that work. So what I'm going to do is put myself on the variety slideshow because that's the default. I'm going to work with that for a minute. So to do that, I'm going to select the variety slideshow, and on the next page, I now get a page that gives me further consideration for each one of the slides. There they all are. So one of the things I can consider is I can write a caption in the slides, which they've already provided captions. Whatever the caption says is presented in the bottom left corner of the slide. I can make them linkable. If I wanted to make it so you click on this slide and go somewhere, I could put a destination. One time in class I said, anybody got any ideas what you could do? And they said, well, what if you put in an image for maybe a high-res photo of your team, and the caption said, click here to learn about my team, and the link maybe you sent to a profile picture. You know, I thought that was pretty good. You notice that I can delete these images. See, I could come in here and delete that one image and upload a replacement. So somebody else raised their hand. They said, what if I took all these out and I put a lead image for all my listings, and then my captions wrote, click here to tour this home, and in the link, I gave a link to my virtual tour. And I was like, that is a brilliant idea, right? Because now when you go to the website, your 5 virtual tours would be sliding across the page with the caption that says, click here to virtually tour these houses, and when you do it, it takes you to the virtual tour. I thought that was a really good suggestion.
So you simply just add the hyperlink right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could say, you know, you could delete this image and hit upload, and then put the lead shot of your listing, and then in the caption you could say, click here to do a tour of this house, and then in the link you'd provide the actual link to that specific virtual tour. And that would make it work.
Nice.
Hang with me for a minute. Here we go. I'm going to save this. We're going to dig into this a little bit more, but I'm going to progressively get into it. I'm going to save this option and now go visit my website. Stale now again, so I'm going to recycle the page, and we're going to, now we see it with the default slider. Now I've got the slider instead of my treehouse. Now that's a more traditional look of the Placester sites, right? They kind of look like that. And if I'm happy with that, great. But if I want to make a change, I can still go in and make some edits. And by the way, that last slide I take major issue with, right? Because if I go back over here and see these little dots, I can click on the dot. It was the 4th one. That right there, I don't like that image. The other slides I can deal with, but that doesn't support my Atlanta real estate business at all. So if that was my situation, if I liked, for example, if I liked everything else, but that image, I could go to my slideshows, and I could come down here, and I could find the slideshow that's in use. The way you know which one's in use is you look for a blue circle with a white check. There it is, blue circle with a white check, so that way I know that that is my, oh my gosh, come on, restart in an hour. How about that? Leave me alone. Okay, so anyway, I can go in here and hit select. That's the one that's in use. And I could come down here to the image I don't like, and now I could delete this, and it's gone. And now I have a choice. I could stop where I am. I could say, okay, I've now turned my 5-slide slideshow into a 4-slide slideshow. I could just hit save and just use the 4 that are left, right? Or I could come in here and I could replace this image with something that I like. Either way. So if I'm going to replace an image, let's talk about images for a little bit. what do you think the most important thing is when it comes to adding images to your website? Anybody got an idea? Sort of a leading question, I know. Alright, the answer is make sure you've got permission to use the image. Hands down, top priority, make sure you've got permission to use the image. I'll share with you a quick story of when I was teaching this class in the beginning. I was like third week into it or so. I was at Sandy Springs and I taught the Placester site class, and I showed people my Treehouse Finder gag, and it was ready to go. And I finished the class and everybody was happy, and I said, anybody got any questions? And somebody raised their hand and said, yeah, you did not get into the blogs. You know, the site has blogs, doesn't it? And they do. It's got blogs. We just don't have time to get into it today. And I said, yeah, it does have blogs. We don't have time for it, but now that we're at the end, I'll show you how to add a blog post. They wanted me to demonstrate that. So being that my site is treehousefinder.com, I tried to keep things consistent. I went over to Pete Nelson's blog. You know him from Treehouse Masters. You ever see that show, Treehouse Masters? Like, they build luxury tree houses. They're amazing, right? So I went to Pete Nelson's blog, and I said, let me get some content to play with for a minute. And I copied one of his paragraphs from a blog post. I see you already know where this is going. And I grabbed one of his photos. I right-clicked on an image and saved it to my desktop. I said, now I got the parts. Don't do that, by the way, everybody, is what I told the class. Don't go copy other people's stuff. I'm just doing this now to show you how to quickly do a blog post. And I did. I stepped through the procedure on Placester, added the blog post, pasted in the content that I borrowed from Pete's blog, and I uploaded the image that I borrowed from Pete's blog, and I showed everybody how the blog post was added, and everybody was satisfied. And I forgot that I had left it on my site, and I went on, right? Ooh. 6 weeks later, I get a phone call from the MCA over at Sandy Springs. She says, you got a stack of mail over here. Do you want us to open it? Because I never get mail at a market center, you know? I said, yeah, sure. Who's it from? She said, it's a bunch of letters from Getty Images. Did you buy something? Ooh. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking, I probably did just buy something, you know? And so she gets down to the most frequent letter and opens it up. And it was a cease and desist demand letter with a fine for $1,600 for this image. And it's a very condemning letter. They take a photograph of your website with the offending image, and then they get a page of their inventory, their catalog with the image and its serial number and its retail price, and they put that in the citation and put it. I mean, it's just, you're just busted. You know what I mean? So I said, let me check into this, and she said, you do that. You know, you can take a look. Let me know what you find out. So I called Getty Images, and I laugh because I always say this in this class, and I didn't tell them I was the director of technology. I just said, hey, I'm a guy who's got to teach this class for my job. It's not even a production site, it's a demo site. I made a mistake, and I got this letter from you, you know, and all this. And the guy's like, okay, Mr. Hardy, what can I do for you today? Are you ready to pay the fine or what? And I said, you know, in my mind, I thought, I'm going to just be bold and ask for forgiveness. You know, I said, actually, I'm calling to just be forgiven. I said, I'm looking for amnesty here. Can you understand that it was not on purpose, you know, whatever? And he kind of chuckled, and he said, I'll call you back. Next day, he calls me back and says, I got great news. We're going to reduce the fine by 50%.
Wow.
And I was like, that's still $800-something. Wait a minute. He said, yeah, we'd like to, you know, exonerate you, but the trouble is we already paid the royalties to the photographer up front, and so we can't recoup that. Now, I don't know if that's really the deal, a bunch of fancy talk, but I know that I had to call my boss and get a check for $800 and some change when it was said and done with. That's Jean. And fortunately, I work for an amazing woman, Jean Rawls, who understands that people make mistakes, and she said, this is the cost of doing business. Let's, you know, go clean up your website, make sure there's no other pictures on your website, and we'll just move on from here. She said, by the way, how is this going to work its way back into your training class? And I said, I think a public service announcement at every single class should work. Which, by the way, you just got your public service announcement. There it is. That's the story. But I hope you take that story and remember it, because I just was innocent in that whole situation and got myself in a jam real quick. And I see a lot of folks with images that are definitely questionable. And if you heard that story, you're thinking to yourself, man, I think I've got some images that I need to check. Here's one thing you can do to just get out of that situation right away. Come up here to Sites, where it says Sites. And now I've got 2 Placester sites, different classes. Here's one I'm working on right now, Welcome to Treehouse Finder. And look, I can disable the site. If I disable that, my site just went offline, just like that. And now I can go work on it offline and delete any images that I need to work on and get permissions for. and when I'm ready for it to go back live again, I can launch it again, relaunch it. So if you panicked, I had somebody panic before, and I was like, just disable your site. So that's how you can disable it and go back to edit site.
And just to piggyback off that, you can go to Google and search for free images. I used to work in licensing and permissions, so you can go in and actually search for photos that don't have copyrights to them.
You can, and that is a piece of advice that I gave up until a certain point this year, and I'm going to speak on that for a minute. And I'm curious to see what you think, being you've got a background. I'd love to know your thoughts. Not only do I want to give you the public service announcement, but I want to talk about where we can get images. And so to piggyback off of what you just said, if I wanted to go and replace this image over here, which one am I working in?
With the blue check.
It's for the blue check. By the way, notice this. Look at the name of it. The blue check, blue circle, white check, is now Variety Custom. Slides 1 through 4. Common question I get, somebody may ask, hey, I deleted the beach scene, but I changed my mind. I want the beach scene back. Can I get it back? Look at what really happens. If you modify any of these slides, the original is still in the list. See that? Variety with 5 slides. So if you wanted to go back on one of the originals, you can always find it in there. If you make the slightest change to one and save it, then it spawns a new version and adds the word custom behind it. So that's why I like to show the blue circle, the white check is truly the one I'm on. Makes it easy. So if I come down here and I want to upload a replacement image here for this vacancy, here's a couple things to keep in mind for where can you get good photos. I like what you said. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Here is a place that I want to show you first, which is pixabay.com. If you haven't heard of pixabay.com, it's refreshing to go and find pixabay.com, where they have stunning free images and all my marketing material for my classes and my website stuff. My treehouse picture came from Pixabay. It's wonderful. You can go in here and let's just do an example here. What if I did? I'm going to do Atlanta. Whoops, I wasn't even close to Atlanta. Atlanta skyline. Any ideas why I like to do this as an example? Because I see this all the time. People are ripping off the Atlanta skyline image. So you got to head out? Well, you know how to get a hold of us. You know where I'll be next. So you'll find us.
I need the blog.
So we can talk.
Yeah, I need
So
the blog.
here's the results for the search Atlanta skyline. Now this first top row up here, these are awesome shots, but they're sponsored. See that where it says sponsored? So don't get too excited and click on those. You have to pay for those. And guess who sponsored those?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Getty Images is the sponsor, so don't mess with them. But after that, these become free samples, free images you can play with.
This is awesome.
So as I'm browsing around looking at these things, I can pick some images that maybe I want to put in as my slideshow. Now think about this for a minute. We are trying to fill this shape. You see the shape here I'm trying to fill? It's this wide shape, kind of a letterbox shape. Whoops, I don't know why I just closed my own page. There we go. Recycle the page. So it's this letterbox shape that I'm trying to solve. And just so you know, that image shape right here, that width and height is 1600 by 660 pixels. That's to say 1600 pixels wide by 660 pixels high. So if you want to find an image that fits in that footprint perfectly, that's the spec that'll do it. So as you're browsing around looking at these images, you may be able to find an image that meets that spec, but then again, you may not even have captured what I just said in the sense of the numbers. They may not mean much to you. Here's a quick way to kind of gauge whether an image would work. Think about the shape we're trying to fill. It's a rectangle, right? So these, like right here, this rectangular shape, and this one in the middle, those would work pretty well. This one here that's a square, like the Ferris wheel right there, that one wouldn't work so well, right? Because it's kind of got the wrong aspect ratio. In fact, what would happen if you were to load this image up is the system would crop it something like this. And that's all you'd get, And so I just encourage you to look for the shape. And I'm looking for the shape now, and I'm going to go with, ooh, I like these clouds. I've never done this one. Let's see how this works. That looks like a new image anyway. So I click through it, and now here I am at the download portal where it says free download. I'm going to click on free download, and look at my choices. 640 by 404, 1280 by 809, 1920 by 1219, and 4921 by 3111. These are my choices to download. Now remember, I told you that the optimum size is 1600 by 660. Here's how you choose which one of these to pick. Have you ever uploaded an image that's smaller than the footprint intended in the web page? If you do that, what happens? It stretches out the image, right? And it gets pixelated and distorted and looks ugly. So if you upload an image and it gets pixelated and distorted and ugly, you know you've uploaded an image too small. Have you ever, though, uploaded an image bigger than the intended footprint? What happens? Nothing, right? It looks fine. If you have a bigger image and you force it up to the smaller footprint, it'll compress it, make it fit in there, and you don't lose quality. So the idea, when you're faced with a choice like this, am I going to do first, second, third, or fourth one? I'm going to think about the 1600 by 660, and I'm going to look for one that's got bigger numbers than my optimum size, and let the system compress it. And that would be this third choice. 1920 is bigger than 1600. 1213 is bigger than 660. So that's a great candidate right there.
So the system does compress it?
It will compress it, yep. So if I download this, now it may do some auto cropping as well, a little bit. So if it crops the image and you don't like the way it finally looks, you may need to go crop it yourself or change the size yourself. But if you just want a quick and easy way to do it, find the image. I gotta prove I'm not a robot real quick. Find the image size that's bigger than 1600 by 660 and download that. And notice there's my image. It just downloaded at the bottom left-hand corner of my Chrome browser. If I open that up, I have just downloaded that image without having to log in, without having to create an account or anything, right? That's pretty cool. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that into my Placester site. So back to my control panel, I've got slide 5 position opened up right here where we left off. I'm now going to use the upload button and find the image I just downloaded to my downloads folder. There we go. And I'm going to order this up by date and see if I can't find 5/17 at 2:57. Wow, it's 3 o'clock, y'all. Can you believe it's 3 o'clock already?
I know.
That's nuts. I'm going to open that up. There it is. I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know if this is going to be good. It's probably going to end up with a bunch of clouds, to be honest with you. But let's see. Let's see what we end up with. For a caption, I'm going to put your real estate dreams are in the cloud. I don't know, you know. Y'all are the marketing geniuses, not me. So then I'm going to hit save and go look at it. See how it looks. I'm curious. Let's see. Recycle the page because it's now stale. I'm going to have to get a current page. Man, somebody just won't stop hitting me. I'm going to have to decline. Turn my phone just off. Did we get to it yet? Next one. There. Oh, I got one little building. Look at that.
See, that's what mine's doing. Yeah.
Hang on. I accidentally put my phone on airplane mode. Now, there we go. Silence all at once. That didn't work out so well, right? With that image. So maybe I could crop it. I don't have a tool to crop it with me right now. I'm not going to make you watch me figure that out. I'll do one that I know that works pretty well, and I'll go ahead and get like something like this one here. Download that one, free download. I've played with that one before. 1920 by 1279 is the candidate size. There are web-based tools and there's downloadable tools that you can use to crop your images and get control over that. I just think I'm not going to spend our time on that today in class. Slideshow. Go find the one that's in use. There it is. Blue circle, white check. Select it. Go find the image I want to change. I knew that was going to be all cloudy anyway. I'll just do Hotline heated up at night. Save. Now I go look at my page. I got to recycle it, of course, to get the benefit of the new changes. And I know it's the last dot. I'm going to go click on this last dot there just to see it. And that works for now, I guess. You know, it's interesting though. Watch this. That you see how the image is cropped for this template, but compare it to, if I go into Plymouth, Plymouth will handle it differently. It's interesting how different templates, here we go, refresh, handle different stuff. Oh, there we go, it's that one right there.
Actually, not too differently. I thought it was actually going to be pushed down a little bit. Stick with me. I'm almost done with this part here. Back in the slideshow, let's say that instead of having these sliders slide by, which is okay to have, it's your call. If you like the sliders, do them. I personally didn't like the sliders. My issue with the sliders was I just felt like it was just a little busy. And one day I was like, well, what would happen if I just kind of settled this down to have a single image? What would that look like? And what I did is I just went into my slideshow, Variety Custom right there, my blue circle, selected that, and I just went in and just deleted all these extra shots. Just left my one that I liked. And look, I can even go over here and change the name, Variety Custom. Why not go ahead and make it something like Skyline? This is how I ended up with my treehouse page. Now I go look at it, recycle it, and it's just going to be that one static image. And I think that's kind of a cool feel for the website. I like that. See how I'm just getting control over these things? Get back over here to my Madison with the red, and we'll move on. Okay. What I want to do is I want to jump from slideshow down to site info, because this is an important area I want to get while we're still fresh, and then the rest of this we'll cover as time allows. We'll get through it though at this rate. So site info, come on down to the second to last item, site info. Stay sharp for this part here, we'll get through it. There's some compliance issues I want to make sure that we cover here in just a second. First order of business under site info is a section they call brand. And you have the opportunity to write in a brand name and a tagline and upload a logo. And that deals with these areas right here on the website. Oh, refresh it here so we can see it. There we go, I'm back to Madison. So there's my brand name right there. Welcome to Treehouse Finder. There's my tagline. Looking for a simple backyard feature, recreational treat, or luxury canopy home. We're here to help. And there's my logo. Those are the first three things we're going to work on under site info. So for brand name and tagline, sometimes when I'm talking to people, I feel like there's a lot of stress trying to figure out, well, what should I come up with a brand? How do I brand my website? There's a lot of pressure behind this one question right here. What should I put in there? Or even a tagline. And I think what's more important than anything is just to, right now, if you can't think of a world-class brand name or tagline for your website, it's better maybe to just think about where these go on the website and just try to utilize them for some purpose. For example, brand name, welcome to treehousefinder.com, you know where it is. It lands right there and it gets treated with this larger font, this large, narrow, sans serif font. Whereas there's tagline below it, it's smaller letters, so it kind of accommodates a more wordy string of text, smaller, bolded font, and it's positioned below. All right, so you can use this. Now in my case, I managed to get treehousefinder.com, which in my imagination was a part of my brand, and so I put welcome to treehousefinder.com. I thought that made sense. And if you have an idea for a brand name or a domain name, whether you've got it yet or not, if you plan to buy it, if you already have, maybe you could do the same thing. Welcome to, SusieTheRealEstateAgent.com. Of course, that's not a valid domain name. You know you can't put that. SusieSells.com. There, you can put that, right? But if you're really drawing a blank there, here's a couple of ideas that might help you. For a brand name, use a call to action. Something like call me today, call today, or call now for a free marketing analysis. Maybe that's something for a seller, or maybe for a buyer's, maybe if I'm more of a buyer's person, for a free buyer's consultation, right? Or thinking about buying or selling a home, call me for a free consultation. Maybe I could do that. If I were to sit there and save that, we'll come down. By the way, before I save it, sorry, I should tell you, focus here at site header. There's these options to display your name and tagline. Make sure that's checked. If it's not checked, no matter what you write in these two fields, it won't show up. Make sure you got to check there. And then save it. If I go back and look and see what that looks like on my site, and I'm just goofing around. You got to make it count, but I'm just playing around with mine. I'm fitting that in there. It's kind of long. Here's an idea. come in to site info again. And for the tagline, if you don't have a good tagline in mind, you could borrow maybe Keller Williams's, which is because your move matters. ... You can go check that out and see how it looks. Recycle that. And even though I've put my branding in the right spot and my tagline in the right spot, you see how I've got a longer string of text here? Maybe it makes sense to come in and just reciprocate those for a second. Site info. Maybe I want to move this to the top and move this to the bottom, which, by the way, I wonder if you know this trick. I'm going to show you this trick. Sometimes people tell me it's worth coming to class for this trick. You ever try to do this? I got to get this text copied and pasted over here, and then get this text copied and pasted down here. So if I go down here and copy this, cut it, and then come down here and paste it, I'm going to lose my text over here, right? So watch this trick. What I'm going to do is, while I've got this value cut, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select this text. By the way, if you don't know, you can double click to get a word, or you can triple click to get a whole sentence. Right? And what I'm going to do is, now I'm just going to left click and drag that on down and release it. See what I did? And then paste my original. Did y'all catch that? Watch. Cut that. Copy that. Now I'm going to left click and hold, drag that up, paste that. And I can reciprocate them again. I can say, no, I like it this way. Cut. Drag that up. People are like, whoa, that just saved me so much time. Yeah. So anyway, I like showing that. It's fun. All right, so I'm going to see what that looks like. That may even be a little bit better that way. I like that better, actually. I'm going to leave it that way for now. So you can play around with that, right? If you're struggling with this, don't let it get you down. If you can fill out something in there, call to action is good, but you can maybe just put a brand name and leave the tagline out if you're really struggling on it. But play around with that a little bit. If you have a domain name in mind, I think that really fits well in here. What I find happens a lot of times when you're under the pressure to come up with a brand type information is, a lot of times you got to kind of finish the site before you kind of know what it's all about, and then you can go back and you can nail down the branding. But a lot of times you'll put something in as a placeholder today, and then next week you'll wake up in the middle of the night with the right answer. You know, like, oh, I finally had settled in my mind. You can put it in. If you're really struggling with that, get on my calendar. I'll help you kind of think through some of that stuff. But more importantly, whoops, not menu. More importantly, let's continue on site info. Let's get the logo in. This is the first area of compliance that I alluded to a minute ago. The logo is super important. We've learned that you need to make sure you get a GREC compliant logo into this site. And so I'm going to show you how to do that now. What we're going to do is we're going to upload the logo. And before you can upload it, you need to get your hands on it. I like to get it from the Rawls Group Help Desk website. This is not the only way that you can get it. You can get it off of different places. But watch my process. See what you think. I'm at rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. If you're following along, you just need to open a new tab and navigate to rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com and scroll to the bottom of any page on our website and find this section called Quick Links at the bottom. Quick Links. And under the Quick Links, you should see a couple of targets. Training calendar, I showed that earlier. Schedule a tech session. Print drivers, by the way, if you need to get the print drivers, there they are for your printers for each location. But then there is MC logos. That's what we want right there. I've got it highlighted. Click on MC logos, Market Center logos, and it'll bring you to this page where I have a collection of all the Rawls Group logos. These are the GREC compliant logos. And what's going on here is, let's see, where are we? Perimeter? No, we're not Perimeter. We're Peachtree Road today. If I download this Peachtree Road, I'm going to click on it, and because I'm in Chrome, it's now downloading at the bottom left-hand corner. It's downloading a zip file. You ever heard of a zip file before?
Yep.
It's just a collection of files inside the zip folder. It's the first time I've seen the whole room say yes, their head nod. That's awesome. Y'all are great. So it is a zip file because the contents of which is this Peachtree Road logo, but it's repeated in different formats. It's JPEG, PNG, BMP, TIFF, CMYK, and it's colorful, it's black and white, it's reversed, it's all these things, right? And so depending on what your project is, you might want to use a different version of the logo. And so I think this is a more valuable logo than just having the basic JPEG. I'm going to unzip this folder so we can play around with it. Y'all are with me here. I'm just going to extract the files. And it's funny, I'm over here asking y'all, are you ready? And I just did it wrong. Didn't I? Yeah, I did. Let me, sorry about that. Let me just clean that up real quick, just for the sake of keeping things in order. All right, show in folder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I'm going to unzip it, and I'm going to choose extract files, not extract here, extract files. And what that does is it'll create an unzipped folder that I can work in and keep my work contained. And here it is at the very top. Should be. Where'd it go? Should be in there. KW. Am I just losing my mind or what, y'all? Peachtree Road. Did it not unzip it? Unzip. Why is that taking so long? Oh my gosh, why can't I get that unzipped?
Do you need to refresh or something?
No, it shouldn't have to refresh. Oh, because over here on my screen number 2, it's asking me to qualify where I want to put it. This pop-up was happening on my other screen and I wasn't seeing it. So yes to all. There we go. Now I should have it. Should be in there somewhere. Peachtree Road, KW271. Prince image. Let's see. Oh, it is like I'm in the twilight zone here for a minute. Can't find what I'm looking for. It's so frustrating. Ah, finally. There it is. That's the result right there in my payload. I unzipped it and now it's got a folder with no zipper on it and I can open it up and see the images in there. So here's how I'm going to work with that. My gosh, I thought I was losing my mind. So now what I'm going to say is upload the file. And there's my folder right there that I unzipped, the 271 Peachtree Road. And here's all the different contents. To get things started, I'm going to work in this RGB folder. And if you look at these options here, let's see. Somebody has messed these things around a little bit. Let me see if I can change the default here. Open with, let's say, image viewer. I apologize, y'all. Just hang tight one second. I'll get this right. Because I want you to be able to see the differences here. Open with. Change. Somebody just made a choice. I'm sure I gave them a choice to change it, and they did. There we go. Is that going to work? Goodness gracious, this thing is fouled up. All right, here we go. I'm just going to work with it the way it is. All right, so I'm in the RGB folder, and I'm going to show this as small icons, detailed format. So what I've got here, I got 3 candidate images I can work with. And notice the types. I got a JPEG, a PNG, and another PNG. This first PNG, if I click on it, if I bring that up and click on it, so you can see it, is an image that is the logo. Oh my gosh, now I gotta answer all these questions. What is going on? Except all right, I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Here it is. So I opened it up just to look at it. This is the JPEG. It's the logo, the KW logo, featuring the red KW with gray lettering on a white solid background. Okay. If I look at the PNG file is the red KW with gray lettering on a clear background. You see how it's clear? There's no white square back there. And then if I look at this third option, it is a little different. It's got white lettering instead of gray lettering on a clear background. and watch the impact on your website. So if I go over here to upload a logo, RGB, and if I do the JPEG, there it is right there, which we know has the white background, and if I upload that, and then look at my site, here we go, and I recycle it, tell me what you think about the way it looks. What do you think about that?
I don't
Pretty
like that.
pretty horrible, right?
Yeah.
Because we got this red background featuring this white square. So PNG files, all you need to know, the difference between PNG files and JPEG for right now, is that when you see PNG file, you can think transparent background, PNG right there. So if you'll upload one of these with a transparent background, there's the PNG coming up. And load that and go look at it. Now look and see what we get. Now we're getting somewhere, right? Although we have a big problem. What happened to my KW? It blended in with the red background. Now I could solve that by changing my theme selection. I know I'm moving a little bit quicker than I have before, but y'all seen this before, right? So I'm gonna hit that, change my theme selection to the gray Madison, refresh the page. Now look at it, let's see what it looks like. I'm starting to get somewhere. I got my KW back. The dark letters don't look so good, though, do they? So I can keep working with this, site info again, back to upload a file. And this time, I'm gonna choose the third file, which is the second PNG. See how it says reverse? That means white lettering. You can just think of the word white lettering in there. So now look at the preview. See how it has white lettering in the preview? If I go look at it now, that should actually look pretty sharp on my website. Recycle it to evaluate the changes. Look at that, how well that looks. Way better than that white square. The JPEG can't perform for us here, it just doesn't work. But the PNG looks great on a lot of these things. If I really wanted that red background, theme selection, come in here and choose red background. Save my page. Recycle it again. Of course, that introduces the problem. Right? Lost my KW because it blended in. Consider this. You can go into site info again, and this time upload the file and come out of the RGB folder that we've been working in, go up a level, and go into the black and white series. And then you can choose, look at these. I'll change it so you can see the extensions, details. We got a JPEG, and then we got 3 PNG files. We don't want to mess with the JPEG. If you look at these closely, you can see here's gray, gray reversed, and then look reversed with the W, that means white. If I choose that one there, all white, everything's white. KW's white, the Peachtree Road is white, it's saved. Go look at it, and you'll buy that one, and it'll be like, yep, that's it. There you go. See how good that looks? Nice and full bleed, right? So the reason I want you to see about downloading these images is who knows what project you're going to be working at. Maybe you've got somebody doing a coffee mug or a t-shirt for you, and they say, you got an office logo? And you say, yeah, I do. Send them to this link. In fact, that's what these are for right here. If you want somebody, your vendor, to have the Peachtree Road logo, go over here and copy that Peachtree Road link right there and put that in an email and say, yeah, here's my logo and all the formats that are possible, and let them figure out what works best for your project. But meanwhile, I think that's more valuable than a lot of times you ask somebody, hey, can I get the office logo? And they email you the JPEG, and then you're stuck with that big rectangle up there, and it doesn't work. So take the time to get your hands on the PNG file. If that just went over your head, I know I stumbled on that zip file, but if you had trouble with that, don't leave today without me getting a chance. I'll get your logo straightened out on your site for you, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. But one thing I do want to tell you is you want to have this rec compliant logo up here, and that's going to make sense here in a second on this next piece. Watch what happens when I go back into site info and continue down the page. We're going to go down here to contact details, and we're going to put in our name and information. I'm going to tie all this compliance stuff I keep alluding to. Go ahead and take a minute, get your name, get your email, the best email for you, get your best phone number in, and if you have a photo, put your best photo in. You know how I know this is my best photo? Because my granny has this framed on her dresser. I am not kidding. My corporate picture. I was at her house. I walked in her bedroom. I was like, Granny, you framed that? I can't believe you. She says, but you got a tie on.
That's funny.
So if you've got a granny approved photo, you know you've got your best photo. Go for it. So funny. She's 94, by the way.
Wow.
So she's hilarious at times. All right. Go ahead and get your information in there, and then let's go ahead and get this information for the office details. Let's go ahead and get in. We're not going to be Atlanta Perimeter. We are Peachtree Road, so I'm going to put that in, Peachtree Road. Y'all spell out road, or is it RD? What do y'all usually do?
I spell it.
Spell it out. I'm going to put Peachtree Road in there. Who knows the phone number here?
404
I'm putting the broker's number in here. Oh, I see it down there. 404-480.
419
Oh, that's wrong.
Oh.
404
419
419.
3500.
Oh, I need that. 3500. Okay. And then who knows the address here?
804 Town Boulevard.
It's right there.
Who knows the city? Who knows? Is it Brookhaven or
It's
is it Atlanta?
Brookhaven.
No, Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Okay. And who knows the zip?
30319.
Thank you. Let's get that information in. Don't save it yet. I just want you to get that far. And we're not going to put an email in there. That was just to land this information. We don't want that. This is all I want you to put in for office details. Get Keller Williams Peachtree Road in there. You can also do Keller Williams Realty Peachtree Road if that's something that you like. I think you're given the choice whether you do it or not. Right? You can put that in there or not. Get the phone number in. Get the address in. And the zip. For your contact info, go ahead and get your name in, get your best email address and your best phone number, and just hold what you got. Don't save it yet. I want you to sit back, watch my points here. A couple things I want to show you, and then we're going to nail this down. So if I were to save this, it introduces a compliance issue. And here's the issue. If I recycle this page, there's a rule of broker prominence, right? If you are advertising listings, there's a rule that says your name can't show up more times or more prominent than the broker. And of course, this is something that is advertising listings. There they are, right? So look, if you count, how many times do we see the broker's name? We got it once right here, Peachtree Road in the logo. And if we move down the page once, and then we don't see it again until we get down here in the footer. There's a second time, and sometimes people point to this, but this doesn't count. That's the national brand logo. That's not the Peachtree Road. That's not our broker. So if Keller Williams Realty Peachtree Road was mentioned just twice on the site, how many times is my name on here? There it is once, right there. And on this template, it's on there a second time, right there. And then again down here a third time. And you look at that and go, is that really a problem? And to our amazement, what we found out is agents are getting fined for this.
Really?
Other licensees are calling in and saying, hey, this is not compliant. And we've got specific cases where associates have had a $500 fine from Greg because they have built their site in this fashion, where their name shows up 3 times and the broker shows up once or twice. So what we figured out here to fix this is when you go in and put your name, don't do it yet, just chill out. I'm going to show you how this works. Site info, we figured this out. We said, okay, well, what if you went in and you said Scott Hardy with Keller Williams Realty Peachtree, you know, I know that's long, we're going to fix it, Road. I could do that, right? And now if I save that and go look at the site, refresh it. Now, if we count up the broker's names, 1 right there in the logo, there it is again, 2, because it's with my name. Now, every place my name shows up, it'll have that. There's the broker's name twice. There's the broker's name the 3rd time, a 4th time, and then a 5th time. And my name is 3 times. So that is compliant at that point. But this gets kind of ugly, right? That doesn't look very good. And so here's the final answer. And I love this. This is one of my favorite tips. Go back into your site info, and what we found out is that these fields, you can write text in the fields, but we found out that you can actually write inline HTML commands as well. So you can go in here and I can write Scott Hardy. Look at this word with. If I take the word with and change that to an open bracket, BR close bracket, that is a small little snippet command that says, in the world of HTML, it says right there, break return, BR is break return, which means everything after Scott Hardy, all this will go on the next line below. And it won't write the code, won't be present on the page. So if you do something like this, bless you by the way, and save it, look at the impact on my site. Now if I go to recycle, Look at that, it found a way to put that,
Oh,
push
wow.
that down, right? Well, that's really cool. Now, I've got the compliance and I've got a pretty decent layout. I would also probably trim it up. One thing I would do is if the logo here says Keller Williams Peachtree Road, I'd probably write Keller Williams Peachtree Road, not Keller Williams Realty. That's not a requirement, but that's just my opinion. That's how I would do it. I would go back into site info and I'd probably trim the word realty out. Take that out. Y'all with me on this?
Yep.
Yes.
One of my favorite. It's so simple, but that's what I love. I love simple little hacks like that that are just effective. So now, clean it up. Here we go. It should be even a little bit better. I think that looks great now. Alright. So now I've got my compliance, I've got my brand information, I got my logo, got my headshot, got my phone number, the email me is hidden there. Things should be shaping up for you, right? Should start to look together. That's as far as we're going to go in site info. Below the office details, there is some SEO stuff. That's a class for another day. So we're not going to worry about that. You can leave those blank for now. And that should complete your site info. What we're going to do is move up from site info. Here's where we were, site info. We're going to move up to where we left off, which is certifications. Now we're back on track up here. Y'all with me? So click on certifications. Now what you're presented with is these options that you can add these certifications. They'll add down here at the very bottom of your page. They go in these little footprints right here at this footer. The way this works is it's a gallery of certifications. You can pick up to 6 to display. You can actually click on more than 6, but the first 6 you choose are what will show up on your website. Looks like they might have added some recently. That's cool. I haven't seen them add anything in a long time. That looks new to me. The MRP, Military Relocation Professional. Never heard of that. And the PSA, I don't recognize that one either. So I think they may have added some, but it's find the ones that you might have, and everybody in the room could probably agree that equal housing opportunity, and National Association of Realtors are 2 that you could at the very least click on. And funny story, I used to tell everybody, don't forget, click on ABR, Atlanta Board of Realtors, till finally somebody raised their hand and said, you know, that doesn't mean Atlanta Board of Realtors, that's accredited buyers research. I was like, wow, that'd been information good to know 5 months ago because I've been saying it wrong. So once you get the ones you want, click save to lock them in, and they will be present at the footer of the page. And we can move on to social networks. Click on social networks, and what's going on here is we're getting control of the social media badges that are on your website. The way this tool works, you probably recognize these social media channels: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And so the way it works is you put your profile link in these fields. You put a portion of it. Mine all say Keller Williams because, frankly, my Facebook and Twitter and so forth are really not business oriented. They're gardening and dirt bikes and camping and have nothing to do with my business. So what I figured out was you can go to kw.com. This is the external kw.com, the consumers see, kw.com. And you can go down here to the bottom of kw.com, and they have a collection of social media badges. There they are. And if you click on kw.com's Facebook badge, which I'm doing now, it takes you to KW's Facebook page, their profile. And the content there is very safe for your customers. It's not about lead capture or listings or marketing. It's about the culture of the company, right? Which is cool. So you can actually go in here and add this to your page if your Facebook page is not appropriate or ready yet, or I should say, for your website. And the trick of it is to look at the address. See this address up here? What I'm doing is I'm looking at the part after facebook.com/ facebook.com/ and then it begins again, Keller Williams Realty. I'm copying that part, going back to Placester and dropping that in this answer here. See what they said right here? They understand facebook.com/. They want whatever trails after that slash right there. In this case, it would be pasting Keller Williams Realty, all one word, no spaces. By doing that, it now activates my Facebook badge and it'll send them to my KW page. Same principle for Twitter.
If I go and click on the Twitter badge here, twitter.com comes up. Here's KW's Twitter page. The same thing. It's safe content, very professionally done. Wonderful content. I'm going to look at the address, twitter.com/KWRI. There it is at the end. If you want your Twitter page, like for my example, I'll show you my dirt bike. Don't ever get to ride that thing anymore, but there's my Twitter page back in the day. Bless you. If I wanted to add my Twitter site, I would go twitter.com, then the slash, so it'd be S Hardy. I could go in there and I could put in, I could take that KWRI out and I could put S Hardy in there, and that would make it connect to my Twitter page. But I like the KW one way better. Same thing goes for LinkedIn. Visit the LinkedIn page if you want theirs, or visit your LinkedIn page if you want yours. And the address here is linkedin.com and a slash, and then it's a little bit longer than the others. It's company/Keller Williams Realty Inc. with dashes in between. Don't be thrown off by the fact that there's two segments in there. Company and a slash is one segment, Keller Williams Realty Inc. is another. They're interested in whatever follows the .com/. In some cases though, with LinkedIn is a little special. Some cases when you go put it in, if you have an older LinkedIn account, there was some period of time where the naming convention changed, and the older accounts don't work in this field. So if you copy yours and paste it into this field, and then you go click on your LinkedIn badge on your website and it still doesn't work, let me know, I'll help you. There's a conversion tool that you can use to get it straightened out. If you want to put KWs in there, it's just company/Keller Williams Realty Inc. with dashes in between. If you leave something blank like I did for Pinterest, then that badge simply doesn't show up on your website. So it's no big deal. Google Plus, there's my badge. It's not filled out, it won't show up. I've got the answers for YouTube and KW and Instagram are in there as well. If you want to copy those, you can get them in there. If you need them again later, that's fine. I can give them to you later in class, at the end of class if you need them again. Does this make sense?
Yes. Scott, do you
Yes.
also help with showing how to upload videos and content to YouTube?
I can do that in a consultation.
Okay.
Yeah, or I can do that after class with you today.
Perfect.
All right, so I'm going to save my choices there, and I'm going to move on after social networks, and we're going to talk about the menu. Now, the menu gets control over, let me recycle my page, just make sure it's fresh. There's the social media badges we just finished up. There at the bottom, there, and they're at the very top up here, very top of the banner. But now we're switching into the menu, and we're getting control over these targets here. The first thing I would tell you about the menu, when you get into the menu option, is when you click on it, you're basically looking at what I like to think of as a menu map. Right? It's a map of your existing menu. See, we've got the buttons Home, Listing Search, About Me, Contact, Mobile Search, and Video Update. And if we look at my website, there they are. Now some of these are custom and some of these are built in. The first four are built in. You should have the same first four that I do. Home, Listing Search, About Me, and Contact Me, they should be on there. I added Mobile Search and Video Update. We're going to add those in a minute. Once you understand that what you're looking at is a map of your menu, I would say that the next thing I would tell you is that you can relabel these buttons. Look what happens when I click on Home, for example. It opens up and it reveals that there's a label, and the label is the word Home. I close that and go look at Listing Search. It reveals that there's a label called Listing Search. You can think of the label, whatever the label says, is how the button's going to present on the screen. Alright, so if I'm looking at Treehouse Finder, my Listing Search here has the label Listing Search. If I clicked on, let's say I clicked on Listing Search, it's going to take me to, as the name implies, the Listing Search, right? There's my FMLS property search. Wow, look at that. It's pretty cool. So if I go to my menu map and look, Listing Search has the label Listing Search. If I wanted to improve on this button some, I wanted to make this more engaging, I could change the label. I could go over here and relabel it and say something like, find your next home. Find your dream home. Find something, I don't know.
you have the liberty to figure out what you want to put in there. But I'm going to relabel mine, find your next home. If I save that and then go look at my page, recycle, listing search should change and it becomes find your next home. But if I click on it, the site still takes me to the right place. It doesn't break or disturb the linkage. See, it goes to where it's supposed to. See how the button, it's my listing search button, but it's been relabeled. About me, if I click on the about me, it brings up my bio. I did tweak my bio a little bit. It may look a little different than yours, but it's still my bio page. And if I wanted to make that more engaging, maybe I would say instead of menu, instead of about me, maybe I pull that up and say about what? Scott, right? Save that. I just made it a little bit more personal. If I go back to my home page, about Scott instead of about me. But if I click on it, it still takes me to my bio. So you can relabel these buttons, which is pretty nice. You can also reorder the buttons. Maybe instead of about Scott being right here, maybe I wanted about Scott to be way over here at the end. And if I wanted to move that over, I could go to my menu map here, my menu button, and notice my mouse is an arrow now, but if I hover over a button, it turns into a positional arrow. The cross means I can move something. So if I wanted about me to be at the end of the row, all I would do is put my mouse over the about me. I'm going to left click and hold and continue holding while I drag, and notice it's coming with me. Here it goes. And it shows with a little dotted line where it's going to go next. And I can put it in position to where I want it. Now if I want it at the end, I can't get my little dots to show up at the end. What I would do is just put it next to this button here, and then maybe move this button around to there. Now I got them at the end. That's just a left click and hold, and you drag while left clicking and holding. If I recycle the page, about Scott should bounce over here at the end. See how I can move those things around? Now if I wanted to add something, such as the mobile search app, or the video update, let's talk about that. If I click on the mobile search app, what happens is you're taken to this page here. This is the download page for a mobile search app. This is a mobile responsive page as well, by the way, and it can tell that I'm on a computer. The mobile search app is software that you download that's designed not for a computer, but for a phone or a tablet, right? It looks like this. Here's a tablet preview and there's a phone preview. And what's happened is the system is recognizing that I just went to my download page on a computer, which is not able to download the software, so you get this ugly page, which the whole point of is to try and get you to put your phone number in here, put in a phone number, and then you send a link to my phone and it sends a text link to the whatever phone number, and you can download the app, right? But by the fact that I see this page, I know that it's working. You can see my name right there, Scott Hardy. I know this is my download page. And if I was looking at this on my mobile device, if I was at treehousefinder.com on my tablet or my mobile device and I clicked search, mobile search app, it would have started downloading the app for me.
So how do we add that tab?
Perfect question. That's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do right now. So how do you add that to your site? The first thing I'm going to do before we add that to my site is I'm going to take them off so I can add them. I'm just going to remove it, delete, and I'm going to remove mobile search app, and we're going to add those back. We'll save that. Now we're cleaned up. Should look sort of like what you've got. So let's add the mobile search app. Go to my Placester tab, go to menu, and I'm going to come down here to the bottom and I'm going to use this add button. Don't click the add button yet. Before you click it, to the left, hit this combo box, this pull down box rather, and you're going to need to choose something. Now my choices are going to look a little more than yours probably, especially if you just started your site. This is a collection of different things that I've tweaked and played with and I can add to my menu. But what we both have in common is if you go all the way to the bottom of the list, even hit the scroll bar if you need to, the last option should be custom URL.
I don't see that.
Keep scrolling down. Do you have an add button right here?
I do.
And then to the left, click on the downward pointing arrow. Did you get the combo box? Like I've got this box? Scroll down and choose custom URL.
It doesn't.
I bet you $5 it does.
I'm sure. Just needed you to walk
I know,
here.
sometimes that's how it goes. Huh? You want it? Custom URL?
Oh.
Give me my money. All right.
That was 10, you owe me 5 back now.
Oh, wow. You've been around. All right, so now that I've
Age
got...
helps, Scott.
No
Age
problem. Yeah, right. Now that custom URL is loaded up, now I'm ready to hit the add button. I'm going to hit the add button, and look what happened. Now it's expanded, and it's wanting me to answer some questions. Got 3 questions it wants me to answer. Label, you already know what that is, right? A label, whatever you type for a label, is what you see as the face of the button on this toolbar. And if we're making a button that when you click it, you download the mobile app, then it stands to reason that the label should suggest that, right? So the user knows what to experience when they click on it. So an appropriate label for downloading the mobile app would be something like maybe free mobile app. Or you could type download my app, download free app, free mobile download. You can, whatever you want. But whatever you type in the label is what's going to show up as the button. You can always go back and change it again. If you put something down and then you realize, there's a better one I like better, you can always go back and update the label. Remember, I showed you how to relabel. So once you've got the label in, that's going to be what the button looks like. The next question is, you got to answer the URL. The URL is the link. It's the download link for your app. And this is where things get a little tricky, because the mobile app is an IDX tool. And we know what that means. It means it takes the MLS, when you do a search, it's going to show the MLS results, but it's going to take the listing agent out, put your information in. So how does the system know to put your information in for the app? How does, when you tell somebody, go to my website, download my mobile app, how does the system know to put Scott Hardy's information or somebody else's information? What they had to do was they had to serialize the entire organization. There's 180,000 agents. We all have 180,000 unique download links. We have a serial number involved in the download. And the trick is to figure out what your download link is. Now, one way you can find it is if you look at your induction sheet. When you came on board, they write that in there for you. It's in your profile. There's another way to find it. An easy way to find it right now, and the way I'm going to show you, is I've got a special tool at rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. If you open up a new tab and navigate to rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com, doesn't matter what page you're on, if you follow this, look up here at the top where it says New Agents, hover over New Agents and click on Step 5. These are numbered in order. Step 5, E-Agency, My Mobile App Introduction. If you click on that, this is a page that I created back in the day to teach the mobile app. And I think it's full of good information about the mobile app, actually. If you don't know about it, take a minute and you can read it when you have a chance. For today, though, we're trying to figure out what your unique serialized link is. The tool is down here. If you scroll down on this page, almost to the bottom, you get to this section down here that says where to find your agent code. Look for this big image here, this big with a red banner and the orange highlights. Click anywhere on that image. Doesn't matter where you click. Click anywhere, and it will figure out which your link is. There's my link right there. You see in the middle where it says mobile URL? This is my custom link. This is my custom agent code right there, KWV40MN1. I think of it as a serial number. Everybody's link looks similar at first. They all start out http://app.kw.com/ but then after the com, they incorporate your personal serial number. So it's essential you figure out yours. If you want to double check and make sure that the tools work and that this is indeed your link, then copy it. Copy it and go pop it into another tab and test it. Paste and go. Love that with Chrome. Look what happens. I came back to my download page, and I know it's my download page, and you should know it's yours because in the middle, you should see your name. And that serves as a quick and easy way to confirm that you have indeed figured out your link. Is anybody lost? Cool. Everybody's quiet, but
So
not
mobile
lost.
URL, that full link to
The whole thing. You want to get every bit of it. Where did it go? I had it. Oh. You made me lose my spot. Where'd it go? Close these up a little bit. Maybe it's here.
Okay.
No, it's not. Oh my goodness. Got lost in my own little world here. Close these up. There it is. You want to copy this whole answer.
Okay.
right, mobile URL. You can just do a triple click on that and that'll get the whole thing.
And what's a tooltip?
We're gonna get there. Here we go. I'm gonna paste an URL. I'm gonna paste my answer, right? I pasted in my URL right there. Who wants to know what a tooltip is? A tooltip, I hate the tooltip. I don't like it very much, but I'll put it in so you can see it. So a tooltip is, as the name says, it's a suggestion when your visitor hovers their mouse over the button, before they click on it, a balloon of information pops up. That's a tooltip. So whatever you write in here. So like an appropriate tooltip would be something like, be sure to use your mobile phone for this download. That could be a good tooltip. I don't like them, but I'm gonna put mine in. Are you heading out?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
Like, I was supposed to leave 2 hours
So
ago.
close.
Me too.
I was so into it. Like, oh
Well,
my God.
you know how to get a hold of me. You
I
know
do.
where I'll be.
Thank you so
good to
much.
see ya.
This was amazing.
I definitely want to pick your brain on those rights too.
Yeah,
I'd love to
definitely.
know what you know some.
I'll
All right.
definitely be in touch.
Cool.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So here I go. I'm gonna put my tooltip. I've got my label. I've got my URL. I got my tooltip. I'm gonna save it, lock it in. I'm gonna go take a test drive on my website. There it is. I'm gonna click on home, and now that should refresh my page. I should get a new. There it is, a mobile app. Now there's 2 reasons why I want to add the mobile app up here. One, it's valuable to have valuable content, right? It helps to have the link to your website. And somebody says, hey, how do I download your mobile app? Go to my website, click on the button. But my other reason is because there is a notorious bug when it comes to adding links to the website. Doesn't matter if you're adding a mobile link or video or anything, and I want you to experience that so you see how to work around it. So usually it impacts about 50% of the room. It almost always impacts me. So here I go. I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna see if I get the bug or not. I'm gonna click on it. And the bug hit me. Did you see what happened when I clicked on it?
No.
When I click on it, what happens? Here we go, keep watching. Did it go to my download page? It did not. Let's go look and see what's going on. Tell me when you see the problem. Back to my menu. Pre-mobile app, I'm gonna open that up, tell me what's wrong.
Or the URL.
That's the
is
bug.
weird.
Is that crazy or what?
When you use the tooltip, is that?
No, it's not when you use the tooltip. Tooltip has nothing to do with it. Here's the workaround. I'm gonna paste that back in there. I'm gonna paste it. And what we found out is what you can do for any URL that you paste in there, delete the last character and retype it. In this case, my last character is the number 1. So look, I'm gonna delete the last character and I'm gonna retype it. And now, when I save it, you can go look at my page, recycle. Now I'm gonna test it again. Here we go. Watch for it, and it works. Is that nutty or what? That's not just for this exercise, it's any link you paste in there, you're gonna need to delete the last character and retype it. By the way, here's the tooltip. You ready? Hover over, don't click on it, there's a little balloon. Be sure to use your mobile phone for this download. I just don't really care for it for whatever reason. So if you like them though, there's what you can get from it right there. Let's add one more link. This time we're gonna add a link to This Month in Real Estate, which is a video that updates every month automatically. So we're gonna go in here to menu. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna get ready to use my add tool. Before I can add a link to something though, I'm gonna come down and load it up with custom URL. Y'all with me? Add custom URL. I gotta do a label, a URL, and an optional tooltip again. So if we're making a button that when you click on it shows you the video for This Month in Real Estate, I need to make a button label that's appropriate. I could type This Month in Real Estate, but that's a really large, that's really big for a button, right? This one you gotta be kind of creative. Maybe something like video update could work. Real estate update could work. Real estate monthly could work. Something like that maybe. I'd be curious if everybody comes up with something clever. I'm just gonna put, for mine I'm gonna put video update. And the reason I'm putting video update is in my mind,
In today's world, the word video and the presence of video seems to be a good thing for content. And so video and update are two things that are really good. Google and people love videos and they love updates. So putting those two words together I think makes sense. My website is about real estate, so I think it's implied. So I kind of think if I'm trying to get the short button, video update is good. You can use whatever you want though. Now to get the URL, here's where we're going to get it. Go back to Rawls Group Help Desk. And on any page at Rawls Group Help Desk, scroll to the top and find the search tool at the top right. At the top right, I'm going to give you a code to type in for this month in real estate. The code is TMIRE. Stands for this month in real estate. You got to head out?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you.
Bye.
TMIRE is the code. This month in real estate. Do a search and you'll get one result on my site, link for TMIRE. There it is. If you click on it, what you will find is a knowledge base article that is in incubation, to be honest with you. I never got this published yet. But in red letters, in large red letters, is the link that you need for today's URL. So I'll take you here to get it. Sometimes I write articles and they just never get live. I need to do something about that. I've been using that for a year now. But anyway, once you copy this link, and by the way, it's a dead link. You can actually triple click on that. You know, sometimes you copy a link, you click on it, and it goes to the destination. You can't copy it. I deadened this one, so you can actually just click on it and copy it real easy. Now that you've got the answer, come back over to your button. Here we go. Remember the bug, right? I'm pasting my link in there, and now what am I going to do? Delete the last character. In this case, it's a capital R. I'm going to delete that capital R and retype it. You need to do the same thing. I'm not going to give a tooltip. I'm just going to hit save. And now I'm going to go visit the site and recycle it.
So you can't just take the URL, you can't just copy and paste the URL. You have to do the.
You paste it. If you paste it, you got to delete the last character.
It removed my
But
mobile app.
You might. Well, I'll come look at it in a second. We'll figure it out.
but you have to go to. Sorry.
You trying to get the link?
Well, I got the link, but you're doing the video.
Yeah, I went over here back to my Placester and I did a menu. And I have this video update was what I created. I did the label, I did video update.
Right.
And I pasted the link in here. And I deleted the last character in the link, the capital R.
Right, but where did you?
And then I just hit save down
Take
here.
me back to the this month in real estate where you got that.
Oh, I got it from Rawls Group Help Desk. Right, and I went up to the search field. Here I'm at Rawls Group. I went to the search field and I typed in the code TMIRE. This month in real estate, and that's where I got the link right here. See?
Okay.
And then when I got the link, I scrolled down this article, and there's in big red letters
Gotcha.
what I need. So once I got that in there, copy that in there, paste it. Now when I save it, take a test drive over here. I got to update the page. Update my video update button, and then next is my. Oh, there's my video update. I'd already put it in there, sorry. If I click on it, hopefully we get a full page video, which we do. It's wide open and it should be.
Welcome to This Month in Real Estate for April 2000.
So that's worthwhile content to have. Really, I'm trying to get you the experience of adding links to your site. I'm going to help you out here in just a minute with,
That's
with your question.
I found it. Thank you.
There's one more thing I want to show you on links, and then we're going to end. We're going to slide right in at 4 p.m. perfectly. Here we go. Last thing I want to show you. Sometimes people ask me, can you nest a link? And let me get my page up here and I'll show you. Yes, you can. Watch this. Sometimes people want to nest a couple of things under one link and have a pull down.
Oh, yeah.
So watch this. If I go in and don't try to follow what I'm doing, just watch what I'm doing for a minute. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new button up here. And I'm gonna nest my mobile app and my video update underneath there so you can see how that works. So just watch for a second and see if you can pick up what I'm doing. I'm gonna go back to menu. And what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to add, but this time I need to add
an element up here that I can nest everything underneath. It's not really gonna be a link, it's gonna be a button, just a button. And so this time when I use the add tool, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the home option, the home button. I'm gonna add a new home button. Instead of create URL, I'm just gonna add a home button. I'm gonna add it, there it is. There's a new button now called home. Now if I just save that and go look at my page, it'll add a button called home right here. There it is. Doesn't do anything, I haven't defined it yet, but there it is. Now you don't have to do this one piece at a time and save it and go look. I'm just kind of showing you progressively so you can see it. You can actually do this all in one swoop. But here we go. I've got this new home button. I'm going to relabel it. Take the tooltip out, and I'm going to put a new label. If this is going to be a parent button to my free mobile app and my video update, then maybe what I could do is call these real estate tools. Maybe be a good parent name. And if that doesn't make sense yet, just keep watching. I think you'll see what I'm doing here in a moment. So I'm going to recycle the page. This is very old. There we go. Now I've got my home button. Now it's called Real Estate Tools. So the idea is if I want to get these guys underneath, watch how that gets done. Go to Menu. And remember that I can relocate these, right? I can left click and change the order.
Oh, right.
So here's what I'm going to do. This home button, which is really my real estate tools, instead of changing the order side by side, watch what I do. I'm going to take one of these buttons, I'm left clicking and holding on free mobile app. I'm going to grab that and watch what I do with the dotted lines. Instead of moving it beside like that, I'm going to move it so that the dotted lines are around the home button. See how the dotted lines lit up around the home button? I'm going to drop this into that home button and look what happens. You see how it indented it?
Yeah.
That tells me that this is going to be a nested button. Look at the result. If I highlight, if I recycle that, Real Estate Tools now has something underneath it. You see that? And if I want to get video update underneath there, I can do the same thing. I can go to Menu, go get video update. Now I can bring it in. Now that doesn't work right there, right? It has to be either on that home button or I could get them in between the two. It's still indented right there. And I can save that. And now I can recycle it. And now video update should disappear. There it goes, and now it's 2 in there. So you can build different things. Look at this, for example. If you go to affordable Georgia cabins.com, this is one of my other Placester sites. I misspelled it. Or maybe it's not live. Affordable Georgia cabins.com. I might have misspelled it. Let's see. Here we go. This is my other Placester site. I use this to teach content optimization in Google Analytics and stuff. But look at my affordable locations where I've got some specific pages that are very specific to some content. So sometimes instead of having all these buttons drawn out across, if I want to have an area for Blue Ridge, for example, I'll create my Blue Ridge page and I'll nest the links like that. So there's my Blue Ridge page. Y'all get what I'm doing there?
Yeah.
It is 3:59, y'all. I have showed you literally everything I planned to show you. We got 1 minute to spare. That is amazing. Thank you for your attention. I hope that your website has increased and progressed and gone from wherever it was when we began to some place that you're happy with today. I will be here for the next however long we need, up to an hour or so. If you've got a specific question or something threw you for a loop, I'm here to come desk side and help you out. Let me pull the camera off real quick. YouTube, goodbye. Thank you for anybody who joined. Y'all have a good day.